Yeah.
Oh,
Are you
man.
guys, sorry to interrupt, are you guys doing like push to talk or how are you doing your mic and stuff?
Just voice activity.
Yeah, I'm doing voice activity.
Am I loud or how do I
You're
sound?
perfect. You're like
You
you
sound
sound like
like a
Howard
legit
Stern on like a radio show.
Sound
Yeah.
like a majestic. I don't know.
You actually do. Your voice sounds very
You've
much
got
like
the very
Howard
warm
Stern,
bass.
which
It's very
is
wide.
actually a compliment.
I told him that last. I was like, Frosty,
Yeah.
you
I would love
sound
to
like a
have
for
that.
real like radio caster.
Yeah.
Tell me a bedtime story.
Wait, Frosty, can you say this is Frosty and you're listening to Soulbrandt FM?
This is Frosty and you're listening to Soulbrandt FM.
You see
Nice.
now, whenever people are listening to this in their cars and
And their
Soulbrandt
cars
FM
on the
exists,
radio.
Oh my god.
and this
Yeah.
is like
After that.
on the radio, then yeah, there we go. We'll use that.
Fucking nerd ass motherfuckers.
My brother gave me some advice on how to soundproof everything. Basically said staple sheets like halfway up my window and then stuff it with like to where it's like a pocket on the window and then stuff it with blankets and
Yeah,
egg
that's
cartons and anything else I
yeah.
can. Then
You're
do it
using
again at the top.
that's basic sound absorption.
yeah, he said
You
then
can
do
go
it
you
again.
can go further with
So-
that by putting.
Yeah. Well, he said wait. He said then do it again at the top.
Yep.
And then whenever everything is stuffed, take a big ass rug and staple that over the whole
okay,
thing.
so Peeve,
Yes,
your
yes,
brother
yes.
told you
And then
to soundproof your apartment, you need to staple garbage to your window.
Pretty much. I just need to shove as much trash
here's the
as
thing.
I can.
Enjoy
soft
never
cloth,
having
soft,
anyone over
like,
ever again.
like foam and shit.
I'm okay
Actually,
with
it's
that.
good for that.
That's
Oh,
so
okay.
funny.
I've been sitting in the Choose Your War Point area in the Majula bonfire trying to find the Grave of Saints for 20 minutes because I've been so distracted by everybody's sexy voices.
Wait, I've been wondering like who else is actually like playing right now?
I'm
I'm-
not.
I'm just trying to buy shit. I
Good
want to
eye.
buy poop. That's what I'd like to buy. I want to have something to go with Peeve's garbage.
Grave of Saints.
Yeah, I'm just running. This is kind of sad, and I kind of do this a lot, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but whenever I'm not streaming or anything, and if I'm like just hanging out and talking, I don't feel like invading or anything, I will just wander around whatever area I'm in and just do like cool looking R2s and stuff with my character. That's it. That's
So I
my
was
day.
setting
For
up.
me, I wander around like I'm lost. I'm like, how did I even get here? Who the fuck are you?
So I was setting up Remy's latest build, remade him as a strength character, and I was using cestises. So I'm like, practicing PvP punching and stuff, and it's tricky because you got to get so close to them. And I was having trouble with the range, and my win-loss rate was probably, I don't know, like 50% when I was starting. Then I was like, oh yeah, I have an Avalon. I've always wanted to try an Avalon. So I put the Avalon in my inventory, and now I win 100%. I never ever lose because the Avalon is
The Avalon's
insane.
really strong.
You win.
Like now, all I do is I run up and punch them one-handed, and if they roll away, I just Avalon them. So every time I miss my punch, I Avalon them. And it's like there's no escape because they're already coming out of a roll. So if I run and punch and they roll back, Avalon.
Yeah,
And if
the
they stay
hitbox
close,
window's
then I
huge.
just punch them in the mouth, and then I Avalon them
it's,
anyway.
It's three different shots. So one of those at least is bound to hit them once they come out of the
And they
eye.
all
And it
hurt a
usually
lot.
staggers them enough that you just get to do it again.
I figured out something with the Chaos Blade a while back. Brandon knows what I'm talking about.
Oh God.
Basically, the R2, the two-handed R2 of the Chaos Blade is one of the only R2s that will let you control it to completely turn around entirely, and it comes out really fast.
I've got one for you. I've got one for you.
So if someone's like fishing the backstab, you face the camera towards them, like you keep watching them, and you act like you're running away from them. And once they get close enough, you just R2, you turn around, and it combos into the second R2.
Oh, Nizzy.
Oh wow.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, Neezy.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey.
Hey,
Hi.
Barney's.
Hey.
Hello. What's up, everybody?
Hey. We're already like mid podcast. This is the most informal thing ever, and
Hell
it's
yeah.
awesome.
Hell
Yeah,
yes.
that's all.
Yes.
That's all it takes.
No rules.
We were talking about how Peeve is gonna staple trash to his windows to soundproof his apartment. That's kind of how it all started.
I'm just
Like-
shoving trash down into my window pockets, which are now a thing apparently.
I want to be clear.
Window
Trash
pockets are a thing.
or
Like
trash
literal
bags?
garbage,
Oh,
like-
not
Actual garbage.
okay. 'Cause
I'm just gonna get whatever I can and just shove it into my window, and it
Oh.
might stink like.
Are you it's so you're trying to keep sound from coming in, like, because
Yeah,
you live on like a freeway
get-
or whatever.
To get rid of the cars, I need to shove trash in my window pockets.
He's trying to thoroughly seal in the crazy.
See, because I have the opposite problem, as I make too much noise and then the police
oh
come.
god.
My latest escapade with the police was
Did they
actually
actually show up
the
again?
night of the beard slaying. Is
What?
we
Oh, no.
so we
Really?
raided that guy, and his beard was slain slightly after that. But I was
That was
actually
real?
after I closed the Skype call, I was or after I closed the stream, I was still on Skype with my friend, and he started shaving his beard, and I was like yelling because I was freaking out so much, and we were just like laughing, and then I got like the police came to my door
Another
at 4
one?
a.m.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
So I gotta get good at not yelling during my streams.
God, dude.
I heard.
But I didn't answer because I'm afraid of
Afraid of the
authority.
police
so I
cops,
just
dude.
got really
Well, they
quiet
could
and
just
waited
knock
for
your
them to
door
go
down.
away.
Maybe all the cops I'm hearing outside are actually headed to Ty's house.
Yeah, they're on their way.
Oh shit.
There you go.
Brandon, are you a cop?
Dude, I'm a police cop. Don't tell
Oh, shit.
anybody.
All right. Well, we'll have to edit that one out later.
Okay, let's talk about balance and fun.
Oh,
Balance
God.
and fun.
No, it
I
doesn't
really like
No
exist.
thanks.
Okay.
Well, I can start off by saying that no matter how imbalanced Dark Souls 2 appears to be, it's still super duper fun.
Oh, absolutely.
oh, yeah.
I love
I-
the game.
The last two streams I've done, I'm having a ball. It's so the game is so crazy. Like when I first started playing Dark Souls 2, I felt like it was slower and more methodical, and it didn't feel like it had as much room for like crazy, like, I don't know, just action-packed like chase sequences and stuff. And then the last two streams, I've just had the most amazing encounters. So I think no matter how imbalanced the Avalon and certain kinds of magic and WoG and all this stuff are, it's still like, even when I die to like OP stuff, it's usually so much fun regardless. So
I completely agree, dude.
I can vouch for dark magic being the #1 cause of hate mail, because even I'm getting hate mail out of control.
It's like,
Scumbag Peeve?
Yeah, someone sent
I don't know.
me a message earlier. Not only did I get a voice message like yesterday, someone sent me a message like a little while ago that said, "Using magic in PvP, you're bad, kid." It's like,
using magic and PvP.
yeah, using magic
how
in PvP.
dare you?
How
I like when
dare
people
you
say
not
son and
use
kid, like it's like a big derogatory thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody's
use a
9
sword.
years old.
How dare you use a
You got
sword?
shit on, son.
Yeah, how dare you use a sword?
He had a Zweihander buffed with flame weapon.
What?
Viander.
I think despite all the stupid stuff in the game, like, there's obviously some pretty obnoxious things, but I always
Oh,
see
yeah.
all these like little glimmers of hope, and it's just so nice. And then the other thing that I kind of I've always been like trying to tell people is, everyone's like trying to criticize and evaluate, Dark Souls 2, but it's like it hasn't even been out for a month.
Yeah.
If
We
you're
know
really
nothing
trying
about
to
it.
compare it to Dark Souls 1, you have to look at Dark Souls 1 at the same time period when you
Yeah.
had
Oh,
like
God.
Yeah.
Tranquil
Crystal
Walk of
Ring
Death
Shield.
and all the
Oh no,
ridiculous
not
stuff.
Tranquil Walk of Death
The
and Crystal
combustion
Ring
swap
Shield.
to everything.
If you wanted to be
Yeah.
invincible, you didn't even need to cheat. You just get strong magic shield.
You
You are
Oh, yeah.
invincible.
Shield,
with back,
your invincibility.
yeah, your
Like 10 or 11 seconds of
backstabs don't do
vulnerability.
anything. like-
Yeah, and the fog ring, so you couldn't be
fog
locked
ring,
onto, because
never
nobody knew how to
mind.
play
Yeah.
unlocked in that
Crystal
era.
ring shield.
Crystal
Yeah.
ring shield,
Like-
one shot people.
The hilarious thing is, as silly as this game seems, I think Dark Souls 1 was even more ridiculous when it first came out.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Lightning
absolutely.
weapons that one shot you. What the fuck?
Scaling
Wasn't that, like, every
scaling
one of
was
your, like,
entirely
builds?
broken, which it's arguably
It is in
broken
Dark
right
Souls 2,
now.
dude.
Yeah.
Everything
I
had
would say
the Dark
yeah,
Wood Grain ring.
I
as
would
well.
say that Dark Souls 2 in its current state is so much better off than Dark Souls 1 was at the same time.
Without a
Like in
doubt,
October of 2011 or whenever it came out. I think Dark Souls 2 is showing so much more hope. And I think my favorite part in general is that everything arguably is viable. Every weapon can kill someone,
Yeah, it's
including
like-
the ladle, including
like Demon
Cestus,
Souls
including
again.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
That's
love
the
that.
When
best.
Like,
everything's
that's
overpowered,
balance, in my
nothing's
opinion.
overpowered.
It's not as balanced as it could be, but the fact that you can win fairly reliably with almost anything in the game, if you know how to
Good
exploit
enough.
it, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I think one of my favorite changes is the fact that you can use 2 weapons in either hand, and you get the full move sets out of those 2 weapons.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Being able to parry right-handed is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I've been screwing around. I don't know if you guys saw, but I made a really, really dumb build lately. Actually, Brandon
I
was
saw
watching
it.
that for a bit.
Unfortunately, god damn.
Yeah, that's what I think about. Yeah, that one was nuts.
But so it's an Uchi in the offhand. So you just spam the running attack.
yeah, that's
and you
what I
have
do,
a
yeah.
buffed Moonlight Greatsword in the main hand.
Oof.
Oh
And
my
it's
god.
just like, so you spam the running attacks, and if they try to roll past you, you just R1 with the Moonlight
That's so
Greatsword's
funny.
crazy
That
sweeping
is
attacks
so
and just
messed
punish everyone.
What I was doing was I was using again the offhand Uchi for the running attack only, and I was using a main hand twin blade. So what I would do is I would start the attack just by harassing them with the Uchi running attack, and then if they ever started to get aggressive, I'd just quickly two-hand my twin blade and spam them with the like spinny, and it was a poison twin blade, obviously, because what else would you use? So they would instantly be poisoned and panicking, and as they ran back to heal, again I would just go back to the running poke with the Uchi katana. It was a really good combination. They made dual wielding like amazing in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
I ran
Fucking,
into somebody with Santier's spear in one hand and Avalon in the other. That was pretty fun.
Wow. So basically every awesome
he-
attack in the
he
whole
won.
game.
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, he won. The hardest I've ever been owned in the game so far was a guy who had an offhand Avalon and just a Cestus, and he just ran up and like he would try to punch me, and if I rolled away, he would Avalon me, and it was just I just got wrecked. Like I had no idea what to do. It was the ultimate like rush down build. I just couldn't counter it at all. And yeah.
So speaking of crazy builds, that one build that I made has you use Great Magic Barrier on it to get some ridiculous defenses out of it. So it's 700 to 800 physical resist, and when Great Magic Barrier is up, I've got 600 to every elemental resistance.
What's your base?
And what?
What's your base resist?
Like 350 or something.
Okay.
Which is pretty nuts. But so some guy, I saw him, he's got a dragon chime, so he's got 50 faith, and he casts the Wrath of God, and I dodged it, but then I'm all curious. I'm like, okay, I got to see, what is this actually going to do to me?
I was watching when this happened. I was watching.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
man.
walk
Oh,
up
man.
to him, and I get hit by a 50 faith Wrath of God. Like, this is something that Yukis, like, just one-shots people, like
Everyone.
2,500 damage.
Full Havels.
I lost 30% of my health, and then I two-shot him with the Moonlight Greatsword.
Oh my
Tanked it.
God.
Straight tanked it.
The build that I'm working on, which is not
Oh
even
my
a high
God.
defense build, has I believe it was like 300-ish magic resist at least, just base, and I'm gonna be
Wow.
using Great Magic shield or barrier on that too.
I got a quick pro tip for everybody. I was testing some crap in the that first area of Forest of the Fallen Giants, and I noticed my fire resist was really high. It was like 500 something. I was like, how the hell is that even possible? And then I realized if you walk through water, you get instantly 300 extra fire resist for like 30 seconds.
That much?
Oh yeah.
300.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's why they have that Pharaoh door in the Iron Keep.
Yeah, I
that
didn't
fills up
realize
with
it.
water
I
at your
didn't
feet.
realize
You're
it
supposed to
was
take
How long
that
does
and
that
then run
last?
to the boss.
It
And then
lasts
the boss
like-
does no damage to you.
It felt like 30
Wow.
seconds. I'm pretty sure it's like 30 seconds.
And you can use that in combination with some other fire resist to just like walk in the lava and stuff around like fire around the Iron Keep and everything. Yeah, water just has a natural fire resistance.
That's cool
So
as
speaking
fuck.
of-
Well, what's really funny
funny.
is you can still shoot fire spells and stuff through the water in Amana's shrine. The guys that like hide underwater, you can still like shoot fireballs through the water and kill them for full damage. So GG FromSoft, make a better game, please.
Or for lightning too.
Yeah,
it doesn't
lightning,
end up
I
at the
was gonna
surface.
say.
It doesn't just pop right there.
No, dude, if you're in Shrine of Amana, like, if you get hit by a weapon with a lightning damage or a lightning buff, you take, like, fucking double damage.
Oh, yeah.
The most ridiculous thing is I was invading a little bit in Shrine of Amana and the Pharaoh's place, and you use that crazy lightning spell that shoots that little like bolt that just shoots out 1 billion like lightning spears
Oh yeah, I see
into the water, and it just zaps everything. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Wow.
That's fucking rude.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking rudeness, how have you been treating people? Are you like bowing? Are you waving? Are you being nice? Or are you just murdering everyone you see no matter what? Healing at any cost?
I do whatever. Yeah, I do whatever feels right at the time, but I can't get over how fun the welcome emote is, and everybody calls me out on like being a dick. They're all like, "Oh, you're just doing the well. What is it?" And I'm like, "But it's so good. Like, it's the most." I don't know. I consider it to be the most friendly insult you can give someone.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome.
Welcome to my lair.
Welcome
so
to die.
I've been so rude that whenever somebody does like a bow or something, I cast a profound still.
Oh,
So if they're like a sorcerer,
How many
or something,
attunement slots is that?
Dude, it takes let me see. I think it only takes 2. I'll check right now. But no, it is seriously ridiculous. It will shut down entire builds. They don't know what to do. I did it to someone in the arena, the Brotherhood of Blood arena with the big tower in the middle. He ran around the thing for 10 minutes. The match lasted 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. He kept running around. He would not fight me. And so just out of spite, out of salt, I kept drinking like crimson waters and herbs and everything to give myself more cast of it. And I just kept using it, even though I know he had run away anyway. And then finally he fights me and he just dies in 3 seconds. So
How long does it last?
it lasts a while. It lasts
Yeah,
I think
really
30
long.
seconds.
It's at least 30 seconds. It feels like a lifetime when you're a caster and you can't do anything.
It's 2 slots.
Is
There's
it
2
is it like
casts.
an aura around you that prevents it, or is it like cast on to somebody?
It has
An aura around
huge
you.
it has a huge range, and the thing is, if they're within that range, whenever you cast it, it puts a debuff on them, which lasts like 30 seconds on them. So the thing is,
Yeah,
Oh.
but doesn't it also count if they walk into your range when you have it cast?
Yeah, it's a circle on your feet, and it like
Yeah,
spreads
yeah,
out.
so
but
you
you
cast
can't you can't walk at them and do it. Like if I cast it in one area and it doesn't hit them, and I run to another area,
really?
it's not like anti-magic field or
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah, no, I
it
put it
traveled
on
with
it.
you.
they have to be in the range, and then
Gotcha.
they can run out of the range as far as they want. The debuff is on them. It puts a debuff on
Yeah.
them. Yeah, it's
Has anybody
it's
has it been screwing around with dark fog and that the bat staff that has like inherent poison attributes?
heard
Oh
things
my
about
god,
it.
that's fucked up.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So the bat staff is a casting staff that has an inherent
It's
poison
called
property
the
on it.
bat staff.
Yeah, it's actually called the bat staff.
The bat
And
staff.
when you cast it with poison fog will apply a poison in basically 1 tick. It's the most ridiculous thing in like this game.
Oh god, you
Wow.
just told people, GG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just edit it out. Just edit it out.
Edit it
Yeah,
out.
edit
Just
that
it
part
Don't
out.
tell anybody. I
Wow.
don't want to get insta
You
poison.
just popularized the.
See, you guys have like been doing all these invasions and like doing all this stuff, and I've just been too busy like breaking the
Testing
game. So
stuff and fucking
Testing
ruining
everything.
it. I've been testing every day, dude.
I've been using
Like, I've been
dork
pretty-
magic and making people cry. Apparently,
Oh yeah.
no
that's
one's
fucked.
happy with it. Yeah.
So
Almost
far,
done.
my favorite thing is the blue flame. That weapon is so fun because it's got the longsword moveset, which I've already confirmed to be very, very good for any form of PvP because it has good stun lock, really fast attack speed, blah, blah, blah. So it's like essentially a longsword moveset. But the fact that you can cast using its R2, so what I do, it's such a good combo, is you run in, you hit him twice with the, like either two-handed or one-handed, they panic and start to roll back. As they're rolling back, you hit the R2 with Soul Greatsword connected. So you stun lock them twice. They immediately panic backwards and then get hit with like a Soul Greatsword. And then they usually roll again in panic. Then you hit them with a Soul Spear. And again, the whole time you're just using your sword to cast it, which people don't expect. Like they see that you have a sword and a shield or whatever, and they're not. It doesn't go through their mind that they need to be ready to dodge magic now. So even though it has a really slow channel, like when you go to cast, it's like the slowest casting speed in the game. People don't register that you're actually casting a spell on them because they don't see a catalyst in your hand. It is one of the most troll weapons in the game and does really good damage. And you can buff it.
Buffing it? I was gonna say. Yeah,
I buff it with well, I'll buff it with crystal magic, but I've just been using like great magic weapon, and then I use it to buff my shield with great magic shield or strong magic shield.
How is that?
And then how is what?
Great magic shield and all that.
It's amazing. I went up against, how the flavor of the week right now is the Moonlight Great Sword with the crystal, whatever. I was fighting my friend, and he has like 50 intelligence, Moonlight Great Sword, crystal, blah blah blah, like crystal soul spears, everything like that. I cast my strong magic shield, and I just stood there, and he hit me with his full combo, which is the 5 homing crystal soul mass, the soul spear, and the soul great sword all at once, and he did like 0 damage. Like it stops 100% of all magic damage and physical damage.
How was the stamina drain?
Damage too.
The stamina drain is low. The stability, it increases the stability of the shield by about 10, which doesn't sound like much, but if you're using, like I use the Slumbering Dragon Crest shield because it gives you the stamina regen, but it's only like a 60% physical resist, but it jumps the physical up to 100%. It's got better stability, and all the resistances are 100%. So I can just block anything. I can turtle up and then cast spells. It's cool.
It seems that there is some effect on resistances that are higher factor in as well in terms of the stamina being taken.
What do you mean?
Less of it, like there's something to the effect of like less of it cuts through or more of it cuts through.
Oh, if you have higher resistances, you take less stamina.
Not just the damage though, but I think it has something to do with the stamina.
I believe it, because when the spell wears off, I get wrecked, and I lose all my stamina when I get hit and stuff. So no, there's definitely an absorption. And
it's not just the stability.
Yeah, it's a really good spell. I don't know what it was like in Dark Souls 1 because I never cast it ever.
It never lasted long enough. They made it last like 11 seconds with everything.
Yeah, no, this one it lasts at least 30 seconds, and that's usually enough if you're aggressive. If you just get in there and try everything, get your combos off, and then by then, if it wears off, well then you're screwed. So,
but I just spell buffs by default lasting 1.5 minutes.
It's the way they do, really.
Yeah, it's the timer's 90
the
seconds.
The weapon buffs, or everything.
The weapon buffs, not the shield. The shield is way less than the weapon buff.
Resonant is 60.
Yeah, it's 60.
What does Great Magic Barrier last for?
It's 90 as well. My weapons and my barrier expire at the same time.
Numbness, I believe, is 30 seconds? Or 20 or 30 seconds?
I think it's 20.
20 seconds. Yeah, have y'all tried Numbness, by the way?
No, that's the one that gives you the tunnel vision.
Gives you tunnel vision and 35% damage reduction, which might not sound like, 35%. Like, you go in and you just tank stuff. So basically,
but if you're in a straight duel, if you're just like, I don't mean running around the level. If you're fighting a person one-on-one, the tunnel vision can't be that bad.
It's not that bad. They can
they're in the middle of your screen anyway. Once you're locked on,
you gotta keep track of them. But the thing is, I'll fight people, and like if they're dodging my Great Resonant Soul like crazy, which is I'm even contemplating getting rid of it because so many people are dodging it like crazy. Yeah. I'll cast Life Drain Patch to make them back up because most people won't come near me. Yeah. Once that's down, and then I'll cast Numbness. I have my buffed Chaos Blade, and that's whenever I just two-hand it and charge them and just go at them with Numbness. It's so
So speaking, you just touched on something really interesting where you cast one spell to kind of push them away, and like the idea of zoning. I noticed that zoning in Dark Souls 2, there's so much more emphasis on it. I was holding a fight club in the Cardinal Tower, and Abient was a part of the fight club, and now he has a whole bunch of different builds. And one of his builds is a faith build that looks like the Predator. I don't know if you've seen like the cosplay video or whatever. You can pretty much make the Predator, Twin Blade, all that stuff.
Bad warrior stuff.
And but what he does is he uses that orb that floats in the air and shoots lightning everywhere. He casts that and then stands inside it and then uses his healing spell to heal himself. And there's no way to get near him. There's no way to
I've been thinking about doing that with Gallium.
It's amazing though. It's so funny that there's so much more emphasis in this game on zoning. Like the fog spells and everything. You can really keep people away from you so you can heal in this.
Life Drain. It seems like there was a big fighting game influence on the game.
I think there definitely was, and I think that's a good thing.
Life Drain patch, like if you're anywhere near a doorway or something, like in a typical invasion, you drop that down, it blocks them off completely. If they walk through it, they die. So you could do whatever the hell you want. Like drop it down and keep them at bay for a little bit. Even out in the open, like, people won't come near you.
Do you guys think, like, looking at the game from a, again, 1v1 perspective, not so much like ganking or like an invasion where you might come across multiple people, but 1v1 situation, and taking into account how you can spice down so many different spells, miracles, whatnot, do you think that in a 1v1 situation, GMB is going to become a de facto part of the experience, similar to how Second Chance was in Demon Souls?
I think if it stays the way it currently is, yes. Okay. But a lot of that's under the assumption that nothing's going to change, and I think a lot of it is, right? So it's hard to say. You mean
change in terms of nerfs and stuff?
Yeah,
on
first
their
off,
end?
yeah, because a lot of the testing that I've been doing, I've actually taken a look at kind of base damage on spells, or not base damage, but base stats for spells. So. Brandon and I were testing this, and like 10 Faith Wrath of God was doing 1,400 damage to him.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
so it's basically it's pretty consistent where the 10 Faith variant with like the base casting thing, as long as it's max upgraded and is infused, you're doing about 70% of the damage of a 50 Faith or 50 int equivalent.
That's broken scaling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like scaling in this game really is kind of silly.
It needs to be doing like 30%.
Things should scale from 0 to max. They shouldn't scale from like 80% to 100% based on...
The first 10 points should factor into that, though.
If you've got 10 faith, your Wrath of God should be doing 50 damage. Like it shouldn't
well, no,
scale up.
I could see it doing like 20 to 30% of the damage. I mean, nothing crazy. Like it would be basically the AR anyways, because that would scale down with defense anyways.
Yeah.
It would feel like a 10%.
But it shouldn't do 1,400%.
The big thing that I would like to see adjusted is that base damage of spells and weapons and a lot of the stuff needs to be lowered, and the damage I suppose could be considered okay. I think spells might need to be toned back a little bit, but that damage needs to be transferred into the scaling aspect where you actually get benefits for increasing your stats like that.
Because there's so few items that scale properly, other than like some strength weapons are the only ones that scale realistically. Like the Cestus scales really well with strength, but not with dexterity, even though they're both A. It's like there's no reason to have dexterity when you use the Cestus because it's a waste of points.
Dexterity inherently is like it's only about 60% of the stat returns that strength does. But then you've also got really broken stuff where, so this is something that I was testing where if the weapon has really high base damage, there's absolutely no reason to invest additional points into it. Like the Chaos Blade has a dexterity requirement of 25 and it's like 10 strength and it only scales with dexterity. And at +5 it's A. Like that's the max upgrade and it's got A scaling. So it's got 310 attack rating at 25 dex. And you increase it up to 40 dexterity, you expect there to be like a big, increase, blah, blah, blah. For the extra 15 stat points, you only gain 25 additional attack rating.
Yeah.
How stupid is that? Like,
and at B, I'm using it as a Dark Chaos Blade right now, and it drops it down to B scaling index. At B, from 25 to 40, you only get 9 points.
Yeah.
So,
terrible.
Yeah, it's pointless.
Yeah.
This is why I really
reminds
want
me of Dark Souls 1,
It is.
broken scaling. Like
This
they-
is why I
they did
really
it
want
again.
Mugen's Dark Souls 2 planner to like finish, so I can, I can actually theory craft everything with a calculator in front of me. I think that'll make a big difference.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult than you would imagine, because a lot of the testing that I've done, there's quite a bit of inconsistencies with the scaling. Like returns from 10 to 20 are actually pretty good. Returns from 30 to 40 are like pretty good as well. But going from 20 to 30, which is like the in-between number,
Nothing.
is useless. It doesn't do anything. Like, and then
It's either 20 or 40.
That's
and even
really
then
weird.
it's shit.
yeah.
But even then, though, the different, like, going from, let's say, 30 to 40, whatever, like, you're going to have to make up for the stats that you don't get in the previous 10 points.
Yeah. And it's just not. It's not there. That's why, like, even if you can invest a bunch of extra points into dexterity and do like almost the same amount of damage or a little bit more damage than base stat infused weapons, you're saving so many points by going base stats and then infused that you're
For sure.
getting more utility out of the build. So it's
and then everyone just becomes a vitality gouge with like mega heavy armor. So everything is a
That's
super
exactly the
tank.
problem.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if that's the direction the game is heading, then that's the direction the game is heading. Either everyone is a one-shot caster or a mega vitality gouge tank. You're not going to see a lot of the like light armor, dual wielding, like dexterity, fancy ninja builds that like a lot of people really wish would be in the game, at least not in its current state.
Well, I think the silliness of it is that with the way you can farm the spices with ascetics in the bell towers, and the way that the current base damage of spells is, you can do builds where you have like super crazy spell damage and the super crazy tankiness and all this other stuff. Like all of my builds are 135, and every single build I have is 50 vigor, and I still run out of like ideas of where to actually put extra points. Like I have like all these points left over at 135, and I just don't know where to put them.
Because you just use spices to bring everything down?
Well, no, not even. Like I generally don't use a lot of magic because I still think it's kind of silly. But yeah, I mean, like some of my spells, like for instance, I'll take Great Magic Barrier down to 10 Faith, which is it's only a 26 requirement, so it's only 16, which is not bad. You can farm that pretty easily. But stuff like that, like there's no point in increasing it, especially when that stuff has absolutely no scaling. It's just flat. Like it just adds in, no problem.
And like all the buffs have no scaling, so there's no reason not to. In fact, there is no reason to not have a buff in this game.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a buff all the time. But what's really annoying about that, and I experienced this with Remy. Remy's final build at the moment is like dual cestus. One fist is flame weapon, one fist is a resin, whether it's pine resin, whatever, and then he also has the miracle buff that the passive, it gives you defense and damage. I can't remember what is that called. Yeah. So, but the problem is, and I find this really annoying, and I wish it wasn't the case, when the fight starts, like whether I'm in the arena or whether I invade someone or whatever, so I find my opponent, I'm ready to fight, and then it's like, okay, so I switch to my pyro glove, buff this, then I switch my pyro glove away, then I use my resin, then I switch, or then I have to switch to, before I use the resin, then I have to switch to my chime or whatever and cast my faith buff, then I have to switch that away, then I have to use my resin to do this, and it's like 38 steps of different things, and if I mess something up, if I'm not paying attention, I accidentally unequip the wrong hand, I cancel the buff I just used. And I really wish there were more options to not necessarily need a buff, like, but so many builds like rely on it to do any damage, especially if you're fighting like a mega tank, full havels, like you need that extra damage. But I hate when before a fight it's like 30 seconds of like buffing. It's just annoying. I wish there were ways to like streamline that, or I don't know, maybe for the PC there'll be like a macro button where you can just hit a button and it'll do all the different it'll do all your different commands for you and set up your character, and you can just walk away and come back when your character's fully buffed and ready to go.
I will make that on the PC version, don't worry. So
yeah, but Yeah, that's kind of annoying. I find that the days of just the 40-40 quality build with no
Yep.
buffs and just like, you know, you're
Yep.
are I think they're over.
Yeah.
Because it's the bar for outplaying someone in Dark Souls 2 is so much higher than it was in Dark Souls 1. I commented that on in a stream the other day. Actually Jerp was streaming, and we were talking in chat, and I said that if any of us, and I meant anyone in the chat, any of us in Soulbrandt, whatever, if we were playing Dark Souls 1 right now, and we were on like, you know, whatever build we wanted, and we came across like someone in full giants ninja flipping with like a dark moon washing pole, we would still beat them regardless of what build we're on, because, you know, we would being able to outplay them is so much more possible in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 2, man, like, it's so much harder to not get caught with like a random tick of 800 damage from
Couldn't
like a
agree
max
more.
range greatsword.
Phantom hit.
Plus,
Yeah, dude.
if you get hit once, you're getting hit twice.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
challenging yourself in this game is a real handicap. Like, if you're not
Yeah,
rocking
you have to
heavy
min-max.
armor and heavy wet damage, and if you're not factoring all that in,
Yeah.
you're gonna have it's the most uphill battle ever. But
One of-
Yeah,
I
I
like
just
it.
that's probably good in the long run.
I just went and took Jarvis, and with Lance's help and everybody, got him up to what I believe to be a decent point. He's actually functional. I couldn't do unbuffed. I had to incorporate, you know, some manner of buff, and also I ended up doing casting as well.
Yep.
So basically, he's halfway between Crit Jarvis and Dex Jarvis.
Yeah.
But with no physical scaling because it's all garbage. I've been running up to people in the Brotherhood of Blood Covenant duels and just destroying everybody. Like, I've already gotten a
Because
few
of
matches in
your
so far.
buffs and stuff.
It's
or-
a dramatically different build. I'm getting tons of damage. I'm resistant to like everything now.
yeah.
A part of it is that I've got like somewhat min-maxed armor as
Mhm.
well. I have 400 base magic resist, and then I toss great magic barrier on as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been fighting people with like, Staff of Wisdom, Crystal Magic Weapon, Staff of Wisdom and Crystal Magic Weapon on the Crystal, the Moonlight Greatsword, whatever, and they can't actually do damage to me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, Remy is quick rolling with almost 1100 slash defense, and I'm quick rolling
Wait,
with
1100
slash defense.
What?
Because the game, yeah,
Fucking god.
dude, I'm using the full turtle armor
Oh my
and like
God.
and a different helm. I switch the helmet around because sometimes I want to expose his mustache, and sometimes like if I'm really try hard and I want to go like I want to put the visor down, but he always has a plume on top of his head regardless. But yeah, all of my setups have like the most incredible defense, but I'm still quick rolling. But then we were in Jerp's stream, and a guy came in full Havels with he was dual wielding great swords, power stanced in full Havels and quick rolling. And
Oh, yeah.
that needs to be that can't be right. Like,
Well,
if you have 99 equipment, like, or the stat that was it vigor or whatever that it affects equipment load or
vitality.
sorry.
Vitality.
Can you just like, does that make sense if you have that and the soldier's ring?
I
Like,
think
can you just
so.
quick roll
If
in
you have-
anything?
If you have ridiculous vitality, third dragon ring, and Royal Soldier's ring +2,
Wow.
probably.
one thing,
Yeah,
one thing you have to
that's crazy.
understand is that there's no matchmaking in arenas in terms of like matching up
I
souls
know,
or soul
I
memory
know,
and
but
stuff.
what
so.
I'm saying that with the consideration of that. Like in Dark Souls 1, you knew when someone was hacking because if they showed up with with full Havels and a ninja flip and all these heavy weapons and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
we could all do the math in our head. But in Dark Souls 2, I think anything is possible and still get a quick roll, which arguably is less of a big deal because the fat roll and the quick roll in this game are closer to each other in terms of like the stuff you can do with them. Like when Remy was fat rolling, I was still doing just as well as when I quick roll, so I guess it's not such a big deal. But in Dark Souls 1, it was like quick roll gave you
Oh, yeah.
everything. You could roll backstab, you could get away from anything, you could roll through wogs, you could do whatever,
Yeah,
right?
somebody was fat rolling through my Great Resonant Souls earlier. I couldn't hit him. I could not hit him.
Well, what equip load percentage are you guys finding yourselves PvPing at, like comfort level?
40 to 45.
I'm at 57.1, but I was I was testing it yesterday, and I was trying to understand it, and I was trying to figure it out. And I think Frosty said, it's relative. Like it's
whatever you're comfortable
everything it changes like with everything.
But I
There's
found it depends on the build
breakpoints.
because my two builds I have Remy, and Remy's at 69.8% equipment load, so he has the shortest possible quick roll, like in terms of how much distance he covers, and my other character's at about 35% quick load, so she rolls a lot further. And what I found really funny is that having the shorter roll, if you're an aggressive build, is actually more beneficial, because when you roll through an attack, you're less likely to overshoot your target.
Yeah, and you can punish.
Yeah, so like when I'm using Remy, since I use cestises, I want the shortest possible roll, because I roll through their attack and then I'm in their face and punching them. And but I found when I use my other character, if I was rolling through a spell, and let's say I wanted to roll backstab them, I'd roll backstab them, then I'd find I'd have to backtrack an extra few feet to try and grab the backstab, and they'd get away. So sometimes having a higher equipment load but a high adaptability, so you can actually roll through all the attacks and stuff, is more beneficial, because you don't overshoot the sweet spot you want to land at to counterattack or to, you know, get your backstab or whatever. So yeah, so I think it's based on the build and what weapons you use, and if you want to be really close to your opponent or if you want to keep a safe distance, then go for the longer range roll. So
yeah, I'm comfortable between 50 and 60.
What about you, Barnesi? Like what do you find the sweet spot for you is in terms of equipment load?
I've been treating it like Dark Souls 1 1.05 patch, where I just always keep it below 50%. Like, you know, the flip ring worked below 50%, and everybody, that's what they min-maxed at.
Yep.
Before, you know, the flip got nerfed and all the nerfs came in 1.06, so that's where I've been sitting at, is just under 50% on all builds.
Marty, didn't you like just beat the game an hour ago? I didn't think you had that much experience with PvP.
No, I beat it like a couple days ago.
That's why it took him so long to beat it. He's had it like before everybody, and he's been PvPing nonstop.
Well, I haven't beaten the game, but I've put 200 hours into PvP, and I haven't beaten the game yet. I'm still at like Shrine of Amana. I'm such a scrub. I'm too busy like loving PvP so much.
I have 200 hours on PS3, and I'm at like 110 on Xbox.
Damn, Brannick, we're racking those hours. Do you guys feel comfortable? Oh, sorry, Jerp, go ahead.
I'm approaching that to some point. I'm a 200-ish probably between the two. Actually, no, probably a bit less actually. But it's uncharacteristically, I've actually gone and done mostly the PvE. I got 4 builds put together. They're not final PvP or anything, but they've all beaten the game. I've done so little PvP. I really want to do much more. I've been like trying to get to this point, and I'm finally there. I could finally actually sit there and min-max and actually get in there.
I want to bring up endgame content. As far as final boss, we don't have to like say the name or anything, because I know, again, Ty hasn't finished it. But how did you guys feel about the fight, and then compare it to Gwyn? As far as difficulty, as far as like the first time you walk in through the boss gate and you're like, oh shit, hype, or like it was whatever.
That's Ty, are you cool with talking about that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Difficulty, I almost beat it first try, and then it took a few more tries. I think whenever it comes to comparing it to Gwyn, Gwyn would be tougher, I think, first encounter. But whenever it starts scaling up, I've beaten it at New Game Plus. I may have even done New Game Plus. I don't remember. But once you start scaling up the difficulty in the later new games, it gets up there. So first encounters, I'd say Gwyn. Anything after first playthrough, you're gonna start to have some trouble. Yeah.
I think it also depends on the build, because again, doing some of my testing stuff, you can cheese the crap out of these fights with some of the spells, like that soul geyser, whatever the thing that shoots like a bunch of the soul masses all at once, does like 3,000 damage to her, and like you can like 3-shot her. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing.
Oh. That sounds silly.
I've also seen Habel Shield tank the world. Like, if you want to win, Habel Shield.
No, good. Do you want to know the funniest co-op playthrough you can do in this game. So I was working on Remy, and I had just switched him to a strength build to dual Cestus or whatever, and then I realized I needed to do a bunch of PvP to get, or sorry, PvE to get a certain ring or something. I can't remember what it was, and I was groaning about it because I didn't. When I PvE, I tend to go sword shield, safe, like, you know, whatever I can to win. But when I have to use my PvP build to do PvE, I always find it much harder. So my friend, we had this. We tried out this thing where what he did is he two-handed a great shield. He has a tank build, so he's full tank. He's two-handing a great shield, and he's wearing the red eye ring.
Oh yeah.
Which causes all the aggro.
People do that.
And then all that would happen was he would walk up ahead of me, grab all the aggro, literally everything, including bosses. Bosses never looked at me, and he'd draw them to him. They could never break through his shield. They couldn't do any chip damage. He'd just tank them all, and I would walk up behind them and power stance my Cestuses, and then just combo them in the back until they were dead. And we did that for like several levels, and we didn't have to use an Estus for like all of Drangleic Castle. Neither of us had to use an Estus because they couldn't do any damage. It was hilarious, but it felt very broken. But at the same time, winning at PvE always feels good, so it didn't matter.
That was the only way I could keep Lucatiel alive on New Game Plus Sinner, is to have the red eye on me. I summoned Lucatiel and then some other phantom to do all the damage, and I just ran around like an idiot as the sinner just kept following me.
Next time, just two-hand a great shield, and you don't even have to run. You can just stand there and laugh, like go do something else while he jumps around. Yeah,
I've seen some ridiculous stuff with the Havel shield, like people tanking the in Dragon Shrine. They got the one giant with the huge mace, and he has like infinite stamina, and he'll just go crazy.
Oh
yeah, I've seen somebody with Havel shield just standing there,
I've
tanking it all, just like laughing at it, like tee hee, like it wasn't even doing anything. His stamina bar like wasn't even moving. It was no chip, nothing.
You know that going in with a shield and going up with your shield up will cause them to do that.
It
causes that behavior from that one night.
What to cause it to like freak out like that?
Yeah, he tries to guard break you and he can't. Well, with Havels anyway.
I think Havel shield is let me rephrase that. I think stability after a certain point is it's like the new Iron Flesh of Dark Souls 2. Do you remember Iron Flesh, Dark Souls 1? You put that on like around the beginning.
Because now you can't just get like, aside from guard breaks, which are pretty easy to avoid when you see the guy doing the animation, you just like roll backwards. But it's a lot harder to just get a free backstab when someone's turtling behind a shield. And Shodels just aren't popular anymore. Nobody seems to be rocking a Shodel, even though I find them to be very effective. Not for doing a ton of damage, but for scaring people out of turtling. You hit them a couple times with the Shodel, and then they just don't bother with the shield anymore.
You need to up it a little bit. Instead of a Shodel, use a full moon sickle. It looks super badass, especially on your back while you're two-handing another weapon. My first build had a black steel katana in the right hand and full moon sickle in the left hand, and it will get behind shields, and it's got a huge range.
So were you able to use the L2 to go behind shields if it was in your offhand?
I was doing you have to. You can
two-handing it by holding
the L
triangle.
No, the L1. Anything that's like a pulling motion will go behind a shield. So the L1.
So it has
L2s,
multiple.
Yeah, it's got multiples. So like,
I didn't realize, because the Shodel still only has the strong attack shield pierce, right? Like most things.
This has L1s and L2s, and the thing is, the L1 is like a full arm extended reach. And that will go behind a shield. So you have to space it to get the direct hit damage.
Yeah, of course.
So you do that. If you space it correctly, it's good damage. The L2 has a much shorter range, but higher damage. And I think even a longer stun. Don't quote me on that. But
yeah.
So like if you space yourself out good, use the L1. If they're right up on you, you use the L2. So it's like, it's got a good like variation. And it's got ridiculous bleed. So I made it like a bleed weapon and, just bleed.
Yeah. Damn.
Like it.
That's pretty awesome. So who here has been completely owned by a power stance whip build?
No, not yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude,
not quite.
It was bad. I got attacked by a guy who looked like Indiana Jones. He had like the hat and like wearing like a leather kind of duster or whatever, and he had his 2 whips, and I just, dude, it was bad. I couldn't do anything. It was and the damage was just unreal.
Were you dying
fast.
straight to the damage?
I got
or to the
melted.
Poison?
It wasn't. No, he didn't have any. It was just straight damage.
Because I've had fights where it's poison infused. Spotted whips.
Old whips or spotted whips?
No, the spotted whips. It's poison infused spotted whips, and they have like 400 something bleed buildup.
Oh,
like it's just disgusting. If they hit you with the 2-handed L1, you almost always get poisoned in a full attack.
Brutal.
It's just rude. Like it's that's all it is.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, whips are pretty crazy now. Like when in Dark Souls 1, I begged for them to do something with the whips to make them viable, but I think they went overboard this time. I think whips are a little bit scary, and they're really hard to see, obviously. So a lot of the times when you're facing a whip, you get hit with attacks that you thought you could never be hit by. It's not even phantom damage, it's just like the whips are so long.
Can you still buff a whip?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And they look amazing. Like lightsaber whips are crazy now.
So
I haven't seen it yet.
1,000 damage.
Yeah.
What? 1,000 damage from a whip?
Yeah,
from like
get hit by both in power stance, double dark buff.
Yeah.
Fucking half.
And that's and that's why I had such trouble against the whip. Like the damage is so big. I thought they were just going to be vessels for status effects like poison or bleed or whatever. But just when it's straight damage, whether it's raw or whatever the case is, it melted me really fast.
Fucked.
Yeah.
Soul level needs to go down.
Oh.
I'm gonna blame you for that, by the way.
I know, it's all my fault. Everyone blames it on me anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. I know.
150 is too much.
If scaling worked as intended, I would still be 150 100%. But as it stands, that scaling is absolute trash, and you get the base minimum for stats, and then go lightning, dark, whatever the fuck you want. It's it needs to be 120, 125 again.
I say
just straight up.
Really?
You cannot
Not
be 150.
135?
People are gonna flip in havels. It's gonna be awful.
I think 130 is a good. Yeah, 130, 135 is
135.
Like some of the
I like
leaner builds.
125 just because it's it feels homey.
125 is okay for some of the leaner builds, but some of the magic builds are still hard pressed unless you really spice everything down, which I think is kind of silly. So
yeah, I was saying that this build right here, the Dex Dark build that I have going on, it's 150, and I can see easily 15 points I could chop off of it, but after that, I'd really be struggling.
Well, Hex Dex is already a very
that's the most demanding you're gonna
But the
get.
15 points you could cut off is your dexterity.
No, I'm
doing base
dexterity. My dexterity is only 25.
Oh, when last I saw it, it was 40. You must have soul vesseled.
No, I soul vesseled a couple times.
Yeah, so have I. Thank God for soul vessels.
I dropped to 25 dex, which is the minimum requirement for the chaos blade, because I realized from 25 to 40 I was only getting 9 points. So
9 damage. That's crazy. Yeah, it makes so much more sense.
Well, it's 9 attack rating, which isn't even actual damage.
Yeah,
which is even more ridiculous.
So it's almost imperceptible.
It's damage, and then it's adjusted by
it's gonna
defense
be
and
2
stuff.
or 3.
So it ends up being 3 damage. Yeah.
Fucking stupid. And dark also doesn't scale. Dark, lightning, all those elemental stuff that scales just as bad. Yeah. It's just that the damage is better.
Mm-hmm.
Base damage is just way more. You get fucking 80 fucking 200 damage extra.
Yeah, base damage is everything in the game. And raw seems to be the way to go for everything, because it's just screw scaling, I just want higher base damage, and when it's raw, you can buff it with either magic or resin. So really raw, with the exception of a handful of things, I think raw ends up being better.
Is that serious? You can buff raw with resins?
Yeah,
I've heard people say
you
that.
can
but
buff
I didn't
raw
think
with
that was the
either a
case.
resin or a spell.
Oh man!
Whereas all the other infusions require you can only buff with a spell. You know how any weapon pretty much in the game can be buffed with a spell, whether it's Sunlight Blade or Crystal Magic Weapon, whatever, but you can't use resins on infused weapons, but raw you can.
Well, my my greatsword build just got a little bit more ridiculous because it was only regular, and
oh no.
But don't you buff your Moonlight Greatsword with?
Nope, with Aromatic Ooze, because it's exactly the same as Crystal Magic Weapon. So
Gotcha.
Wait. It's not like it doesn't count as like strong or regular. It's full on crystal.
Aromatic Ooze adds 50 flat and then 30%, just like Crystal Magic Weapon does. The only reason you would use Crystal Magic Weapon is because you can't use you can't use the resins on like magic infused weapons.
Yeah.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, that's why my build is so
Holy shit.
stupid, because if I had 50 intelligence and I used Crystal Magic Weapon on a regular Moonlight Greatsword with the Wisdom Staff, because it doesn't scale at all, it does exactly the same damage as if I just used an Aromatic Ooze on it. So that's why you use base damage on the Moonlight Greatsword, because at 20 intelligence, it's still 480 total attack rating. If you go up to 50, it only gets it up to like 540 or something. But now that I know that I can make it raw, it's going to make the base damage even higher, then I can buff it with the resin. Oh my god.
Holy
It's just,
crap.
Yep.
Oh well.
GG.
So I've been now that I've updated Jarvis, I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but I've been fighting like everybody using crystal Moonlight Greatswords, Crystal Magic Weapon, and everything.
Yeah.
Now, like normally, like I've previously walked up to that with the earlier version of Jarvis and just like I get two shot, like there's no way out of it. You're just gonna get destroyed. With this, it's like I can just chill out in front of it. He can burn all his stamina. I turn around with the dark infused dark weapon rapier and blow all my stamina on him, and I come out like double his damage.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Counter damage is so fucking important in this game.
Yep.
Because trades.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my god, it can mean like fucking 500 extra damage on a counter hit. It's
Isn't that,
fucking-
isn't that I was gonna say, is that how poise works now? It's as far as we know, it's hyper armor. Does anybody else
no.
know that?
Somebody-
No,
I think
think
that's a
that's
myth.
been discounted
No.
since.
no, somebody on GameFAQs was kind of doing it. Like I haven't tested any of this myself, so I'm just basically talking out of my ass. But somebody was kind of testing it and saying, you know, there are actual breakpoints that kind of seem to make sense. And one of the things that they were testing is like if you're just standing there, how much poise you actually need to resist a hit. And it's pretty consistently been about 3 times whatever the weapon's poise damage is.
In-game
So if
number
it says it's a
yeah,
longsword and it's like 10 poise damage or whatever it is, I have no idea.
that might be right.
It would probably be around like 30 or 30 something poise to just stand there and take it. But
Yeah.
they were saying like if you are mid swing or mid action, it's somewhat accurate, and that I don't know if that seems to be true.
Yeah.
But
Maybe hyper armor is just more of a thing and has nothing to do with poise. Like
Well,
I've never seen hyper
Well, it could be
armor in
modifiers
effect
on top of
ever.
everything.
I will say this: I've been using katanas a good bit, and a lot of people have been poisoned through them and just punishing me, like a lot.
Yep.
yeah.
So it's in the game. It's there.
Yeah, it's nobody's nailed down an exact definition for it, and the fact that there's inherent poise and then like the poise that you get from armor and stuff, and I think they're both very different. I think they both mean completely different things, but I have yet to see anybody say this is how poise works. Here's all the research. Here's videos explaining why it works and blah blah blah. Like nobody has been able to give that out yet.
I think it's interesting though how much information we actually do have at this point in the game.
Yep.
Like people
Compared to Dark Souls 1.
yeah. Like it took forever to
Yeah,
get
we
that
don't know
stuff.
shit.
I remember like 2 months into the game and I was still running around with like, I don't know, like no poise and like the antiquated skirt because it was so stupid and broken and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rocked 50 decks in Dark Souls 1 for a good 1,200 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, but again,
I didn't care to change my build. That's all.
No, but and in Dark Souls 1 you could do that because there was less reliance on stats and everything, and it was more about the difference was I would say a lot of your fights it was like people would R1 spam, and in Dark Souls 1 if you R1 spam you're going to get parried over and over and over. Like how many fights, Peeve, were you in where someone would R1 spam you, you'd block, set up, parry them. They'd get up, R1 spam, block, set up, parry, and they would just panic spam you until they were dead and the fight was over. I would say like many times that happened, especially because
didn't you see
you played right from the very start of the game when people didn't even understand that they could get parried. Yeah.
Didn't you see Parry the World?
Oh, well, obviously, but that's what I mean. Is like
That's what
your
it's
build
setup parries the whole.
Yeah, like and like I said, the potential to outplay someone in Dark Souls 1 was so big. Just if you were skilled at the game, you could, but I find with Dark Souls 2, and again, the game's only in its infancy. We don't know for sure. Maybe, a very skilled player could come along and beat anyone with any build, but I have yet to see it. I have yet to I don't know.
One of the things that I just absolutely love in this game, and there actually is a potential to just outplay the crap out of your opponent, is the backstep. The backstep is so responsive, and it just feels so good using in this game.
And you get your iframes.
You get
and everything from it.
iframes.
Yep.
The same as a
insane.
roll.
Someone has
No, it's way
way less. Yeah.
someone has
But it's still.
Yeah, someone has backstep spammed through my Great Resident Soul. It just kept hitting backstep and I didn't hit him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's neat because it launches into your running attack, which for almost every weapon is the big KO. Like whether it's the halberd spin to win, whether it's the katana running stab poke that tracks so well that you almost can't avoid it, and stuff like that. Yeah, no. Have you guys seen the backstep katana? Like there's this almost like this glitch with the katana where if you backstep, lock on to someone like behind you and then launch your attack, your character runs in like this huge loop and comes around back towards the camera. I was doing it on stream, and it's because since the game is almost entirely mo-capped, and I don't know if this is the exact reason for it, but you can't really queue up an attack to go directly behind you. Now, like, obviously, everything needs to be within, like, say, 30 to, like, 90 degrees of where you start your attack, for the most part. But, like, with the katana, there's something really weird about how it can, like, track you at a full sprint, and your character will actually, like, do a loop, like run forward and then turn and come all the way back around at the camera, all in one running attack. It's really weird.
Speaking of that, like I said earlier, if you haven't seen the Chaos Blade two-handed R2, you have to, because it lets you spin around completely. 180 degree. Actually, I was able to do a 360 degree turn during the attack and then hit in front of me again.
Wow.
Like it's full control.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned that. I did find that there is something else that does that really well. It probably applies to every single one in this type. Havel's Great Shield. If you use the L2 for the bash, you can go the entire way 180 with it. I think you can just track indefinitely. Like you will reach the guy if you just keep aiming at him. If they don't stagger you out of it.
But it's a big wind-up, right? Like you hold it up over your head for a second.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, though,
can
is
you
that
keep
like
rotating
not only can you
while
take
it's happening. Oh,
yeah, you rotate the entire way through that, and you can change as much as you want.
Well, Abient
anyway.
uses a dual Great Shield build and wins consistently with it in our fight clubs.
How?
I don't know. I don't understand dual Great Shield builds enough. I haven't made one, but
I guess for the defenses.
Well, no, dude. The slam attack has the most the damage crazy. And the phantom range on it. Because when I duel with my friend Jake, he uses a Great Shield. And when he does the Great Shield bash, the one where you just reach up and you slam it down on the ground, I'll roll away and it'll still catch me for full damage at the end of my roll.
How much damage is it doing?
It's I don't know, probably a fairly significant chunk of my health. Now I'm using Remy, so I have 1,000 defense, but I would say like a sixth or at least like an eighth of my health with a ton of defense. If I was a squishy, it'd probably be like a quarter. It's a lot of damage, like, and in PvE, PvE, he 2 or 3 shot combos every enemy we come across with his Great Shield two-handed in front of him. So it's like he's mega tank absorbing all the aggro, and he can just 2-shot almost every like new game enemy.
So wait, can he stagger lock anybody? Can he actually?
Yeah. No, it combos. Like that's the thing. The shield attacks have combos. What? Like they link into each other, especially the big slams.
That's crazy.
The big slams that you keep
within the course of the stagger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've staggered people into walls and just spam. It's really funny. They just get staggered.
Does
forever.
he have? So he has he could theoretically have all of the resistances covered within the scope of that.
Like if he's using do you mean like from the shield?
Like magic Havels on one with decent everything else, and then it
Dark
could be the
Caval's-
Grim
Yeah.
Shield and then some other
or
thing.
yeah, something with like
Or
or
have
just have one that's mega like magic resistant, and then one is like physical or like fire or whatever. Yeah, to cover
That's
the
a
full
really
spectrum.
that's a really good idea.
Dual shield is viable 100%, and the proof of that is that you fight those two enemies and
Orma and Reeve.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Orma and Reeve play the world, shield the world.
Yeah.
That's
Shield the world.
actually that's the name of their shields for anyone wondering.
Yeah. But it's legit, and Abiant wins fight clubs with a dual Great Shield build. I don't know how. I haven't fought him, but I've watched him wreck people.
What the fuck?
It's pretty crazy, but I love that that's viable somehow. I just don't understand the mechanics of it.
Speaking of viability, I'm really curious. Are you there, Barneasy? Is Barneasy there?
Yes, I am.
Have you gotten a chance to try your beloved pickaxe yet?
I have actually. I tried it for the first time last night, and I tried it one-handed and I tried it two-handed. I haven't tried it power stancing yet, but initial moveset it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Really?
And it's going to be again, I haven't tried it power stance, and I've heard that the power stance on what is it, Great Hammer? I think it's a Great Hammer now. The move weapon set or move set. But I've heard it's really good.
So you tempted to do dual pickaxes?
I think so. I think that's what I'm going to do. So instead of 22 strength, 8 dex, it'll be like I think 33 and 12 for the stats.
And it has the infinite, dude.
And yeah, the infinite. I guess there's like a L1, R1, L1.
Yep.
Infinite. But is that like range dependent, where I have to be up close to my opponent's face, or can I be kind of play it safe and it'll still connect the whole chain?
I haven't tested the pickaxe,
Won't it
for other
push them
stuff,
out?
it pushes them away.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is. You got to be up in the grill.
It would be probably only work if you're super duper close. But if you're punishing them, you're close anyways from a roll.
Does it
Exactly.
Does
It
it work
combos
with
off the rolling, yeah.
Does it work with Leo Ring still?
It does, but Leo Ring, unlike Dark Souls 1, where it did like, I don't know, it was like 40% extra damage, and then on top of that 40%, the 20% bonus you get from counter damage anyways, it's no longer like that. From what I understand, it's 17.5% the bonus for Leo Ring now. So it's much less. Yeah, it's much less. So they kind of nerfed the build in a way, but that being said, I haven't heavily tested it yet. Especially PvP wise, I've been doing like Dex Pyro builds and things like that for the most part. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's gonna be fun.
Rings in general seem to be pretty toned down compared to Dark Souls 1, with the exception of that stupid Thorns ring.
No, not just that.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Thorns ring.
There's some other things as well, though.
Please remove the Thorns ring.
But it has to go. There's something very
silly. Somehow,
Actually,
that is worst. That is completely broken. That is the only thing I will complain about. That thing is whack.
There's two things that are wrong with it. Either the damage it does has to go, because it's absolutely insane how much damage it does, or the stagger and the instant trigger has to go, because there's no way to be good enough to avoid
you can't see that it's coming at all, and you can't deal with it.
Something like the sun ring is tolerable, because as long as you're not mashing, you can roll away, you can kind of get out of it. If you're just standing there and mashing, you're gonna get punished. It'll be helpful for preventing ganks and that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with that. But the stupid thorn ring needs to go, because it does 800 damage. It can do Brandon. I've had people on this Moonlight Greatsword build with the crazy defensive stats, and I've just sat there and they've killed themselves from the thorns. You remember how we were talking about making that stupid Havel build? It's a thing. It really is.
I've got a question for you regarding that. Stupid. Does it trigger if you're blocking?
No, you have to get hit.
Okay, good. That'd be hilarious.
I was in a PvP match, and I was against a guy with a great scythe and leather armor. It was really light armor. And I was just sitting there, and I missed my swing, and he does the running R1, and all he does is hit me, and dies instantly. It was like 1,800 fucking counter hit damage from Thorns, and he just died.
That is so ridiculous.
Wait, is Ring of Thorns thrust, pierce?
I
whatever?
don't know if
no
it.
idea.
I've
It
wanted
has
to
its
test
own-
and see if it's
It
benefited
counter-hits.
Oh, I've got
by.
another one.
I want to see if it's
Fucking
benefited by the Leo ring.
Oh my
How
god.
stupid would that
There's
be?
another one. Leo Ring and Ring of Blades. If it's physical damage anyways,
Yeah,
Wait,
we could test that.
Ring of Blades +2 on
wait,
that.
And then
did we already discuss if it's if +1 and +2, is it just the difference between the chance, or did the damage
It's
change?
yeah,
It's
no,
just the
the
chance.
damage is exactly the same because I was using the +1 a lot. I was using the +2 a little bit, and then I was just disgusted at how stupid it is, and then I went back to the +1.
So it was too good. So you went back.
Yeah.
Well, no, like literally, it would be, I would smack somebody in the face for like a bit of damage, and then this is on my like Dex Chaos Blade build, like that I was using a little while ago. So I would do like a running poke and hit somebody in the face, and then their ring would proc, and it hit me for like twice the damage that my running poke did. But then my ring would proc and hit them and kill them, and it was just like, it's just super
PvP.
stupid.
Am I the only one that kind of feels it's MMO in nature, kind of
Yeah,
the metagame that's forming around the Ring of Thorns, and then the way that it stacks with Leo Ring, and so
It's
you can
too
just do nuts
forgiving.
damage.
It just quite literally forgives stupid play and punishes people who are good enough to kind of outplay
Actually
and
hitting
trade
people, yeah.
effectively, and that is something I really dislike, and that needs to go. So
Yeah,
So
that is awful.
The question is that the direction that the developers wanted to take the game into making it more
I wish I
accessible and
knew.
casual, or is it something that just we as a community have found out and we see that it's broken and they're going to nerf it out, right?
well, I mean,
Not even that, dude. It's like
Too
anyone
many-
can just use the ring and get hit, and I think like the only thing that could trade with it is like a fucking great hammer. And it just fucking does like 1,000 damage. If you
I
have
think
low
there are-
defense, it melts you.
I think there are too many things in this game that are very obvious, kind of fuck you right from FromSoft to those types of play, like where it's just it seems pretty clear that they kind of don't want to go that direction, like making it more accessible, sure, but not making it easier in that way, because like some of the encounters and some of the enemies are just the most obnoxious, ridiculous things. But I don't necessarily think they want to go to that kind of really easy MMO, as you put it, kind of style. But
roll the dice and see what
yeah,
happens.
like, well, that's actually something that's kind of interesting. How much more prevalent like RNG type mechanics are in this game. Like you've got the gauntlets, you've got the different rings and stuff, and it seems so out of place in a Souls game. Like,
Yeah, it is very weird.
Between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, how much RNG stuff was there? Was there any? Like I don't remember.
in Dark Souls 1,
Dark Souls 1 and Demon
Other
Souls.
other than item,
I don't.
other
yeah.
than gear that would, other than gear that raises like either item discovery or it gives you more souls, like the mimic head. I don't think there
But
was
that's
any,
not a combat
and those aren't
thing,
RNG.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Talking
it's
about
not. You're right.
things that would like proc.
That's not even
yeah.
like RNG
No,
too. There's
no.
never like a
I
percentage.
don't think there was something.
Well, there is fucking karmic justice.
But that's
No,
like
that's,
a damage.
That's actually
threshold,
that has a
right?
calculation behind
Well,
it.
yeah, it meant
Yeah.
to, but sometimes
It was a
three
mix
hits,
like stagger damage.
Sometimes it was 3, sometimes it was 4,
yeah,
sometimes it never went
works
off.
somewhat like poise.
So
It works somewhat
yeah,
like
so
poise.
I don't know.
though.
I
Yeah.
feel like that stuff just seems very out of place in these games. So I don't know. I'm not impressed by having it in the game. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah, I don't like them either.
I do have, speaking of rings that they've like toned down, opposite of the Ring of Thorns. I noticed like the other night that or last night, the third dragon ring, even though it's what 12.5% to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm at like around 1700 HP. It only gives like 125 extra HP, and that made me think. Like I almost took it off. Like everyone uses third dragon ring, because it's like ring of favor and protection, but I feel like it might not even be worth it aside from the stamina bonus. That's the only reason. I'm
Dude, the
using it right
stamina
now.
bonus is huge.
Yeah, I'm going
It
from
just
130
gives
to
you-
146, but the only 125 HP. That just makes me want to just rip the ring off my virtual finger and throw it on the ground.
well, with the way stamina works right now, where
Put it on the trash
Yeah,
fence.
I'll just shove it into my window pocket for sound dampening purposes.
With the way stamina is right now, where it basically you hit 20 stamina and then it's just like 1 point of stamina per stat point into it. I mean, for me, if the only thing it gave was like 12% additional stamina, I would still probably use it just because stamina is so... I really do think it's like just ridiculously important in this game. I use that and the Chloranthy ring too. I don't see myself not using both of those rings.
I could replace it with Ring of Thorns.
Yes, but
It's got back Peeve.
I don't know. I suppose it depends on the build, right? But
yeah, well, Ring of Thorns doesn't depend on any build. That's just Ring of Thorns.
No, that is
Ring
the
of Thorns.
That's why. That's exactly how I built this character. I focused everything on to elemental defenses with like decent melee defenses because I figure, you know, all I'm gonna have to worry about is the casters because anybody who tries to actually hit me, my Ring of Thorns is just gonna kick the shit out of them, and that's all I have to worry about. So like.
Oh, so you're like all defense and Ring of Thorns.
Yeah, well, I have 2,400 HP on this character, and I'm soul level 135 or something, or 135 or 150. I don't remember, but
that is insane.
It's like 700 to 800 to all of the physical defenses. I think I've got 800 slash defense. Then I've got 600 to all of the elemental defenses, so magic, fire, lightning, and dark, with 2,400 HP and the fucking Thorns ring on. Like. I don't take damage. It's the most ridiculous thing. So
that is absurd.
That's nuts.
I think my favorite ring in the game right now is the Dispelling ring. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, I'm using that right now. I'm using that and Spell Stoneplate ring. It's 60 to all of your elemental resists.
Yeah, I love it. I was secretly in love with the speckled Stoneplate ring in Dark Souls 1. I had it on one of my builds.
But it was never good
exactly,
enough, though.
But I had it on one of my builds just because I liked the idea of even defenses across the board. I thought it was really cool. And then I saw this one, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. So,
hey, do any of you guys not use Chloranthy ring +2?
Me.
No.
I'm not using it because I haven't gotten it yet. I'm using +1.
I can't see myself not using it. I think it's just way too good.
I know, it's like
so good.
Too good.
Insane.
So good.
I tested it, dude. It's out of fucking control. It's so much better.
Do you know if it stacks with other regen?
Yep. It stacks with grass. It stacks with shields.
People have said that
I
that's
tested
the reason
it
why I was asking.
thoroughly, and it does.
Interesting.
Well, people also said it was like super low percent, and I don't think it's super low percent compared to the +1.
Stacking it isn't
I think it's
worth
way
it.
higher.
Yeah, I tried
not
to.
worth it. So just the ring?
I tried to test stacking.
Just use
and
the
it didn't
damn ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed worth it. Yeah, I don't even use it. I have Third Dragon Ring, Southern Ritual Band, Clear Bluestone Ring, and
God, the Southern
Dispelling
Ritual
ring.
Band is so strong. Oh my God, 3 attunement slots on a single ring.
Oh,
That's like
okay.
a
We have to
minimum
talk about that.
of like, I don't know,
That's
14 stat
ridiculous.
points or something crazy. Like if you start as a bandit, it takes what 16 total attunement for 3 slots. So if you start as a bandit, that's 14 stat points that it saves you with 1 ring. Like that is nuts. That's ridiculous.
Can I share my perfect build?
Go ahead.
Oh God.
It's like
go
the
ahead.
perfect build. It's like everyone, you just make this and you're done. It's basically a dark weapon build. Everything you take every weapon, you just make it fucking dark. It has 25 strength, 25 dex, just to wield like almost every weapon in the game. Just infuse it to dark, no big deal. Fucking 50 vigor, base vit, because you can get armor pretty easily if you want to roll around. You can put some points in there if you want. 20 endurance, and 10 int, 10 faith, and resonant weapon is spiced down to base. So you just put resonant weapon buff on everything, and it's fucking GG. That's like the perfect build. And then you put points into whatever else you want if you're going 125, 150, whatever the fuck. It's the perfect build. It's like all you need.
How much better is resonant weapons than
50%
dark weapons?
instead of 30%.
Dark weapon is 30% of your dark damage, And then, yeah, Resonant is 50, but it's only 60 seconds.
Now,
And it takes 2,000 souls.
actually,
But it's better.
And it takes 2 slots.
Thing.
I was doing a little bit of testing, and I'm inclined to say that the buffs don't quite work exactly how we think they do. I'm seeing if I can bring this up, but give me 2 seconds so I can find it here. Because one of the things I was testing was damage with like base stats, and then using the resins, and then using some of the other stuff. And for some reason, you're gonna have to give me a second to find this here, but
Well, while you're looking for that, I just now tested it, and I mean, I'm sure y'all knew this already, but my attunement is 30. We're talking about the Southern Ritual Band. The +2 version of it gives you 3 attunement slots. If I wanted that in stats after 30 attunement, I'd have to go up to 60. So that ring gives you basically 30 attunement.
yeah.
In your situation, your
Well, I
characters.
mean, yeah. Well, in my character situation, it gives me 30 extra because I'm not going to 60.
Insane.
But I mean,
need
granted,
the slots.
the stat would also give you like agility and stuff, but attunement slots alone, yeah.
Okay, so I found
It's
this
pretty
stuff.
good.
It's like the best ring in the fucking game, dude. It's so fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
some of them are just really strong. But anyways, so I was testing 40 strength, 40 dexterity, looking at the Sunlight Sword and the Draykeeper Sword, and I was doing damage tests versus the Ruined Sentinels. And both the Sunlight Sword and the Draykeeper Sword have exactly the same total attack rating at 40 strength, 40 dex, which is 350. But the Sunlight Sword has only 175 base damage, and the Draykeeper Sword has 245 base damage, and the scaling is obviously really different. So one-handed, with no buffs, just straight up, they were doing 229 damage to the Ruined Sentinels. Both weapons were doing exactly the same damage. But when I used a resin, the charcoal resin on the Sunlight Sword, I was doing 276 damage. And when I was using the charcoal resin on the Draykeeper Sword, I was doing 290 damage. So I was doing more damage with the higher base damage weapon than with the lower base damage weapon, even though without the buff, they were doing exactly the same damage per swing. So that has me a little suspicious of something going behind the scenes, and I don't know.
Does one of them not have? Do they not have like fire damage?
No, they're
on
both
one of them
they're
or
both
anything, or
pure
just-
physical, except one has the Sunlight Sword is 175 plus 175, whereas the Draykeeper Sword is 245 base plus 105 bonus. So yeah, a little suspicious. I'm gonna see if I can do more testing on it, but just something interesting to consider. So, you know, it might be a little bit more different than we think, because all these numbers that people have been pulling off are from like the guide, right? The thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What's the Sunlight Sword? Where the hell do you get that?
It's the
Sunbro.
Sunbro, yeah.
It's
Of our
like plus
Covenant
2
mode.
in the Covenant. Plus 2.
But I found something really, really weird about shield infusion because I was trying to become immune to Wog because fuck Wog. Yeah, so basically, if you take the Watcher shield and infuse it with the lightning, it can become 100% lightning resist, which makes you immune to all Wog damage. Just block it. You're like, oh, no big deal. You know, you don't have to fucking do any stupid shit.
Fog is
Yep.
lightning?
Yep.
Wog is lightning damage.
No,
Everyone
Oh,
so
says
you're saying it was
fucking
physical.
NPCs
It's
is
not
physical,
fucking
but the
physical.
actual cast, like when other players use
Oh.
it, is actually
What?
lightning.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on. Let's not have any more inconsistent
Yeah.
shit like that. Come on.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's a counter to everything.
No, that wasn't the point. There's
That's what
no
I was
counter
interesting.
to Ring of Thorns.
Okay. Ring
There
of
is a
Thorns
counter to
aside.
Wog.
Ring of
There
Thorns
is a counter
aside.
to Wog, but it requires everyone use a certain shield, and that's fucking wrong. That is fucking stupid.
I've still yet to encounter enough people using Wog, believe it or not, to really get an
Take use of the shield?
experience. No. Well, not that, but to get an experience with it. Like everyone's saying that like the range is absurd and stuff. I've yet to get the chance to run away from Wog. And
Damn,
can't you hit
if
them
you-
once they kneel down?
You can hit him, but
the
most of the
risk
time it'll go
reward of
through
that
anyways.
is so, because if you miss or you screw up and you don't have like crazy
dead.
defense, yeah, it like Yukis, no joke, does like 2,500 damage with his Wrath of God versus most people. And I think that's such a silly way of designing it, I would much rather have the spell be quicker and easier to hit people but do less damage than just have this crazy dice roll where it's like, if I get this off, I just literally win, and if I don't, I'm going to take a bunch of damage and that's going to be it. I dislike that kind of design in the game.
I hunted down Nelson with the 100% Lightning Watcher shield.
And he didn't use it.
After Brandon told me that little secret, I was like, I got him. I'm gonna get him. And I hunted him down, and he didn't even attempt to wog me. He just beat the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Nelson style.
My main point was shield infusion is fucking weird. Okay, so Watchers is like 90 base lightning, and I was like, I wonder if it'll max out, and it did. It's 100% lightning if you lightning infuse it. And I was like, I got another shield that's what was it? I think it was like 70, and I lightning infused that, and it went up by 18 points. And I was like, holy shit! Like, you can make some really good shields like viable, like to different elements. So I did it again to another shield, and it only went up by fucking 10 points.
Shields, shields scale, don't they? Did you know what like the scaling on the different shields were? But
yeah, that's what it was. But it's like every different shield has like weird elemental scalings too, aside from their normal scaling. If you infuse them, it's really weird. It depends on shield. It's not the shield type. It's not anything. It's just completely dependent on the shield. Fuck. I'm like dying in Shrine of Amana.
The hell are you doing in Shrine of Amana? You want to know? You want to know?
I'm farming spices for my resonant weapon so I can kill everyone.
Oh.
What drops? What drops the spices?
You just run to a box and then run up to a corpse, and that's it.
You can just use.
Oh,
you
shit.
can farm ascetics with the giant stuff, and then you can use ascetics on like the belfry place to get 3 per thing, right?
Oh, you have to kill the gargoyles on New Game Plus.
No,
That
you
shit's
just do it in
impossible.
Belfry Soul. There's no boss.
Oh, no. I'm talking about skeptic spices, not simpletons. This is the best place.
I need
for
both.
Skeptics.
So I gotta cut in for a sec because I just had one of my moments. I think Jarvis is back. I think I figured out what I want to do with him. I just ran in and destroyed somebody, and mid destroying them, a blue comes in and tries to fuck my shit up. I roll backstab him, finish him off, and the next attack, as I'm done with the backstab, I don't have a weapon I can parry with because I have my staff out. I'm back already on the rapier. I do a right hand parry with the rapier, and then switch back to the dagger for a riposte and one shot the host.
Oh man,
1500 damage. It's so
that
fucking
is a moment
ridiculous.
right there.
So how
I think
about
He
how
fucking
about Nelson's swath into riposte combo?
my
let's
God.
not talk about that.
That's just
That never
broken.
happened to me. Never.
That's fucked. Oh yeah, it happened to
What?
Peeve.
It happened
I
to
seen
you?
it.
No,
Oh shit.
Okay, fuck.
I beat Nelson, and that didn't happen.
Oh. Wog, yeah, obviously you can parry into a Wog, so that's GG. And you can guard break into a Wog.
Do they get the bonus damage?
Guard break.
The bonus damage
Yep,
doesn't
and they're
matter.
just
They like if
They're-
So I found that scraps of life into heal is awesome with
okay, so Ty
if you're
was
invading.
talking
Oh
about
my
this
God.
earlier about how
That's pretty good.
Space management is really, really cool, or really prevalent in this game.
Zoning.
I fought
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple different things, and I actually wrote this down because of how ridiculous it was when they were using it against me. But yeah, this guy would cast affinity and cast his like soul mass stuff, which is super strong. The soul mass, it fires so quick from the most ridiculous directions that it's actually really hard to avoid. So he would just kind of run away, cast scraps of life, and then recast the soul mass because you can't get up in his face to kind of counter him. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it knocks
he
you
was
down
just
always.
spamming that over and over again. And then some other guy was using a bow build, but all he would do was kind of set up like 3 or 4, or no, sorry. He had a couple he had warmth right beside him and then lingering flame, and he just sat on top of it and shot bows at me. So when you ran up to him, the lingering flame would kind of explode, and that would give him enough time to kind of roll away and reposition and start shooting his bows and shit again. And then he would run away and cast a new lingering flame. Yeah,
Smart
yeah,
bastard.
really cool.
Yeah, that's fucked,
So-
dude.
So what's the counter to
I
that?
don't know.
Is there a counter to that?
You basically have
Terrain.
to, yeah,
Shield?
you have to dodge the bows, get up in his face, dodge the lingering flame, and then just sit on his ass so he can't recast, and then just pressure and pressure and pressure.
Hmm.
But he was really good about it.
Eventually, he'd run out of cast.
Yeah,
too.
he was really good about it though.
He has a lot though.
Oh.
There's a couple of tactics that surprised me. Some guy, the cheesiest one was some guy used chameleon so you couldn't lock onto him, and all he did was go chameleon, and he'd actually run up to you and backstab fish with a dagger. So you couldn't lock on, you'd have to just try to swing and hit him. And if you didn't, he'd just one-shot backstab you. And I hit him, I fucking stun locked him until
Well,
he died.
you can
That's
block.
actually like considering you can do
block.
that with a silver
Yeah, you
talisman.
can block while it's
That's
in
like a
there.
yeah,
Delta
it's
strategy.
fucked, dude.
So
It's really fucked. I mean, he must have got a lot of people.
somebody on my,
I almost
it was
got
on.
hit.
I was streaming, and somebody in the arena was a pot, and I kept hitting it, and I kept bouncing off, like I was hitting some kind of shield, and I couldn't
Oh, he
do
was
enough
two-handing
damage
the
to break him out of his stupid shield, like to break him out of the pot. And then he just kept circling, and then he eventually
Oh, wow.
just backstabbed me. And then he
shit.
pops out of his stupid pot, and he's got a fucking
Silver
Howl's
talisman
great
on
shield
Jarvis.
on and shit, and it's like,
Oh my god.
Well, I guess I'm
My
adding that to
favorite
my
thing,
inventory.
my favorite thing to do in invasions whenever they're using chameleon is obviously see them a mile away and walk near them and just be like, where are they? Just kind of look like I'm wandering around and just turn around, face them and life drain patch, and they'll try to sit there and like pretend they're not taking tons of damage and they just melt, and then finally they bust out the pot at the last second.
does it heal you or does it just
Shut
do
him down.
damage?
Wait, life drain patch? It's the opposite of warmth. It just.
But it doesn't
melts
suck like
things.
their health and give it to you or anything. It just does damage to them.
No. Oh, no. It just does damage. If I walk into it, I'll get damage.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. It damages everything. You could actually be a host, summon somebody in, and drop a life drain patch on your own summon and kill them.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
No, you know what the fucked up?
Oh,
shit?
dude, you could knock him down into
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and then cast Scraps of Life.
I've been pairing people and then just burn for your sins, drop a life drain patch on them, and just watch them melt while they're sitting on their ass. So much fun.
Oh, it doesn't stagger
No,
you.
it doesn't stagger. It just.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's
insane.
really cool.
Well, to be fair though, the first hit they take is a good chunk of damage. I'm not sure how much. Good chunk of damage, and then it's like 3 smaller damage ticks. And if they're still in it, or if they re-enter it, then they get the big chunk again. So it's not just like consistent damage throughout. It's like
Oh, it's like
It's
a debuff
like-
with the initial hit, and then the debuff expires quickly as long as you
it's
exit
like
it.
it's like big damage, small, big damage, small.
But if they jumped in and out, or if they were trying to roll around it, they'd probably get hit with that big
Yeah, if you
damage a lot.
re-enter it, you take it again. It's pretty
But no,
pretty fun.
the most fucked up tactic I've seen so far is I was in a duel in the blood arena, and some guy was using. Well, I seen he had the catalyst out, so I knew he had Wog coming. I was like, okay, well he's gonna Wog. So he does his Wog. I block with my shield, 0 fucking damage. I'm like, big deal. And then he runs away. He does Wog again. I'm like, fuck that. I'm backing up. And instead of Wogging, he heals for his full health because he was like about to die. He does a heal instead.
Oh.
But it's the same crouching animation. You can't tell until
Yeah,
they do
same
the second
sound.
part if it's going to be a Wog or a heal.
You've got to basically roll it because you can still backstab him on the way in, if assuming you can get enough invulnerability
No,
points
you
to
cannot
roll.
roll through Wog.
Which heal is
Possible.
it that looks exactly like Wrath of God, like Great Heal Exert or something?
I don't know. It wasn't exactly like
No, there is
Wog,
one. There is
the
one that looks
casting.
exactly like
the
it.
beginning. You kneel
Yeah,
down.
okay.
That's why you don't know. It was great heal.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so he just healed to full health, and the fight was over. I go to punish his second
Well, then
one,
it's Wrath of God.
and boom, instant Wog dead.
Barney,
And then he bows, and I'm like, fuck. Mix-up game is so huge. It's like, it's fun.
you mentioned seeing this on Roan's stream the other day, and he did it to me in the one fight where he beat me. The punish on the roll.
The streak.
How exactly does that work? Because I've seen it happen a couple times now.
So
Crap.
okay,
What the fuck?
Okay, so Roan, I'm sure most of you have maybe caught a stream or have heard of him, Ronisp. He streams on Twitch.
Yeah, I know him.
He has this the build that he's rocking right now. Havel's Great Shield, the weapon that he's using, you'd never expect it. Lightning infused, yellow quartz straight sword
What the
is what
fuck?
he uses. Totally random. You'd be like, okay, trash weapon. Why does he use it? But I guess it's one of those where the base damage is good. The scaling is like shit. It's like DD.
So the infusion
But
is out of control.
and then he buffs it with SLB, so that's kind of his build, and he plays it super turtly too. So what I've been noticing, I've been watching his stream these last couple nights, and he does arenas. He's like hammering out arena mode, and he's a duelist by heart. That's what he would always do, just like Berg nonstop Berg duels in the previous game. So what he would do is he would turtle up, like let you mash into like so many phantoms are used to. Once you run out of stamina, or once you're like you come to the realization like, okay, nothing's happening, I'm not doing anything. So many people have this tendency where they roll backwards, roll away from the opponent. He anticipates that roll away. He runs up, and during the roll, not after, not before, but during the roll, he catches a BS. Now it looks like a vacuum BS on his end. It looks just like Dark Souls 1 when you get vacuum BS, you rolled away and then you get sucked back in, and you got BS. You take the damage, and then on the wake up, he does like great combustion shenanigans or whatever. But I haven't seen anyone else do that kind of backstab tech or backstab punish. If you
it really caught me off guard.
It's really
I was
interesting
streaming
to
my
see it.
Fuck, dude.
I was streaming my Moonlight
that.
Greatsword build, and I was at like 33-0. Like I had a disgusting win streak, and then I fought Roan, and he just turtled me out, and he got the backstab on me to like, I don't know, 70% of my health or something stupid.
And it looked retarded, right? On your end, you were like, whoa. It was kind of a wake-up call, like, backstab's still viable.
Holy shit, so he can do that
it was
like
pretty
every
consistent,
time?
But yeah, I hope that the nerfs come sooner rather than later, so this big like player base that we have right now sticks around for a little bit longer. It's not like 6 months down the line where it's only the hardcore player base.
Yeah, right.
Because right now,
People
you know,
are
it's
gonna
like
get
everybody.
frustrated with the fucking Thorns
Some
ring
people are doing
and Wog.
120 PvP. Some people are doing 150. Some people are like, I'm going to go to whatever I feel like and stop whenever I feel like, and that's fine now. But 6 months down the line, when the IGN kind of what's the next big hype game that they're going to kind of move on to, crowd moves on, it's just going to be the us, right? The player base that is going to rock this shit for the next 2 years,
Right.
and then go to Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3. Yeah, actually.
Hopefully they bring back Miyazaki though. I don't like the design changes, like the overall design changes in the game. Like, why would you take away the bonfire thing? Like leveling at the bonfire, it feels like an extra layer of work that I have to do to level up. Whereas before, it's just you'd run to the bonfire, you're there, you hit it, you level up whatever you want to level up, and then you're back into the mobs, like PvEing it
I
up.
feel like there's a lot of side concerns though, like shops repairing. I think there's things they want you to be repeatedly exposed to, so you don't forget.
It's very reminiscent of Demon Souls with the Nexus. It's I think it's more for an immersion kind of deal.
Yeah.
I feel less immersed. I feel less immersed. The opposite, Peeve. I feel like Demon Souls was less immersive because it had that hub and spoke design where Dark Souls was
I think
one
because
giant
I
world.
can teleport all around everywhere, and I can do it from the get-go. I don't feel myself really revisiting the world, and I don't think the map layout is as impressive as Dark Souls 1 was. Because, like, you have all this interconnecting stuff, and everything kind of folds back onto itself, and it's really, really, really cool. Whereas this game, it kind of just branches out into weird little areas, and that's just kind of it. And you just warp back and forth, and it's just...
It spreads out in different directions. But the thing is, though, like... I like this better because it goes so deep into different areas. It's like rabbit holes.
It does, but I mean, some of it just
really
doesn't make sense to me. Like, for instance, you're in the Earthen Keep, which is like this big tower, and then you kill Mytha at the top of it, and you get into an elevator that takes you up into a volcano. What? Where am I? Like,
some of the transitions are a bit crazy, but I don't know. I really like it.
Yeah, that one, I'll give you that one. That one is. We need to see.
It's a bit.
We need some lore on that. Some lore on that.
Like, you go up and then it's a sunken fortress in lava. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
And to add on to that, once you are up there, you can look out into the distance and it's just lava and volcanoes as far as the eye can
exactly.
see.
It's like
how did I miss that on the way over here?
So little things like that. I don't know. I'm a little disconnected by that. But then you have areas like the dragon area. Oh my god! And the dragon shrine. When I first saw that, like coming out of what's it called, the Aldea's Keep or whatever, I just sat there staring around on my stream for, I don't know, a good couple minutes, just not saying anything. It was just so incredible.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It is really cool.
How about DLC? I've been hearing a lot about there's DLC content built into the game that's like behind barriers. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I've heard that they have the ability to add DLC, but they have no plans.
They said the same thing with Dark Souls 1.
It's just it's probably just cut content.
They did.
Like, oh, you know, all the stuff is hidden behind barriers. Well, yeah, it's probably cut content that was never released properly. Like, for instance, if you look at Demon Souls, you know, Gibbed has found the broken archstone.
The only man to ever enter.
Yeah, no, like
seriously,
he got in there. But
the map doesn't load properly.
Yeah, it was just
so
you could see like the item placements and everything, but the map of the broken archstone would not load.
So you have stuff like that, and somebody will be like, "Oh, you know, well, they clearly had a plan for a DLC of the giant area." No, it's just it was cut content, and you know that happens. So it could be the case that, you know, if a DLC is released, that stuff will actually come into part of it, because now they'll have a time to finish it off properly. And I think that's basically what the Artorias of the Abyss DLC was, or at least a large portion of it was, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they had tester models in the game before the DLC was even announced.
Really?
Yep. You also had
Sanctuary Garden
was part of the concept art for the game when it first came out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was in the if you pre-ordered the Dark Souls Black Armor or whatever it was called edition, it came with a little mini art book which had again the what's it called, with the lightning attack and all that. The DLC. There we go. Yeah, Sanctuary Garden in the mini art book.
So a lot of that stuff was like already there. So they also had the there was also that the chained prisoner at the bottom before the elevator.
Yep.
That was part of the concept art for the game's like initial release. So a lot of that, you know, was just cut content that actually got made into the game as DLC, but it wasn't intended to be DLC. It just, hey, you know.
Right.
So here's a question then for you. Should we, in terms of like, you know, are we getting the complete game? Are we paying for stuff that was
complete
quote unquote already in the disc? All that, all
my
the complaints
first
to that
playthrough was
effect.
60 hours.
Well, no, I'm not saying. No. Let me finish. In regards to the people who make those complaints, in terms of especially how people complain about that whenever there's DLC put out. Oh, it's on disc DLC, all this other stuff. Should having the opportunity to complete content that wasn't ever meant to be within the scope of the game in terms of when they cut it down to realistic, is that as bad as just developing it knowing like, oh well, we have this plan for post-release, we know we're not going to release it, but most of the development is already done and then we'll pay for it. Like, people who complain about that sort of thing, is there a distinction? Like, for me personally, like, you know, the game development is one of those things that, like, there's some things that you just can't finish. There's some things that you plan up until very late and then you cut. There's other things that you plan, like, oh, this would be really cool. Let me get some of the infrastructure. Some of the guys had some extra time while some of the other guys were really busy. But, you know, you just can't finish it, regardless of whether or not you expect to finish it and then later on get the opportunity to finish it.
Well, I think my view on how they kind of approach their game design, obviously I can't speak for them. I have no idea, but it's kind of this idea of, you know, reach for the stars, land on the moon kind of thing, right? You put all these ideas and all this stuff and you get what you can out of it. And if stuff doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then you just cut it and everything feels okay. But one thing I did notice with this game is that all of the levels and all of the areas seem full. They seem fleshed out. They seem kind of the same length, right? Whereas, you know, the Dark Souls 1, you kind of get this idea where, like, something like Lost Izalith looks awesome. There's a ton of potential, but it just feels rushed and unfinished. So,
Ash Lake, perfect example.
So I don't get any of that sense in Dark Souls 2, which is very interesting. So I really do think it's kind of exactly how well, not exactly how, but pretty close to exactly how they wanted to release the game. So
Yeah.
I do feel like they had enough of a budget to actually finish the game like full on without a lot of stuff left over. Like what they intended to do,
yeah,
I think
but
they
the
actually
question
had
is,
enough
why
time and
is
money
there
this
stuff
time
left
to
over?
actually
Is
do
it
it.
because they couldn't get to it? Is it because they just didn't want to include it? And I think, that has to be kind of answered to really address the question properly. Because,
Speaking of which,
well, I was just gonna say, like,
I
yeah,
think
it's a bit of both, but you have these other things too, where someone will say, "Oh, Portal is a complete game," and I agree. It's awesome. It's really great, but it's like, I don't know, Portal 2 is like 10 hours or something stupid. Like Thief or whatever is like, I don't know, 15 hours or something. Yes, it's a complete game, but I don't think it's a complete experience. I don't know. I would play that game and I would feel like I want more and I want something else out of it. Like I just said, my first playthrough of Dark Souls 2 was like 65 hours or something stupid. And that's just the first playthrough. And then you've got New Game Plus and you've got all the other stuff with it. So just...
Oh, yeah, it's like...
And they actually seem to have made New Game Plus into something that you actually, like, lot of, like, the true Dark Souls starts at New Game Plus.
So,
like, a huge portion of it is there.
To try and say it's not a complete game is just absurd to me. I don't know. Yes, I think some stuff was cut. I think some of it was cut because it wasn't something they intended to do. Some of it might have been cut because they didn't have time, whatever, but it's not as if they just rushed it to get it out and just put something out there. Like, there's a ton of really good content in this game, and it baffles me to say that it's not like a complete game, quote unquote, right?
What do y'all think that the PC version is going to? And I mean, I know we're not far away from the release, but I'm sure y'all have all seen the pictures of the.
Do we think it's going to be like Watch Dogs, or is it going to be not so bad?
Wait, I mean like the what they originally intended, or at least advertised for Dark Souls 1 graphics wise.
Is it close to the demo build?
Yeah, like look at what's it called? Aria's Keep. Is that right?
Yeah,
Aldia. Yeah. Look at the comparison pictures of the demo build. It's like amazing and like
the demo build was on a PC, right?
It's incredible. No, it was on PS3.
Really?
It was on PS3. But Aldia's Keep. It's in the demo build. It's like it's amazing. Which demo build is supposedly on PS3, but.
Was that really on PS3, or was that like one of those things where they hook up?
I don't think
the
so.
console with the PC
behind it. Running on PC graphics because
from what I've read and heard, it was PS3. But what I was going to say was, it looks amazing. While in the game, like the version we're playing, it looks like the entire place was just covered in just powder, like everywhere. Just looks like someone just tossed some chalk over everything.
I mean, that's a texture thing, though. And didn't they say that for sure that there's going to be better textures on the PC?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Well, they can increase the resolution. They can use better mappings. They can compute. They can do more computations. They can have better shaders. What I think might have happened, and I'm hoping this is the case, is that I think they developed a PC version, right? They started first in PC. I'm not sure. This is entirely true. This is what I've been hearing. They get it up to a certain point, and then they're like, this is about as far as we can go before we have to start development on a fork of that into the PS3 and 360 versions. Where they can layer, console-specific interface, they can do console control things, and they can start stripping everything down to where it'll actually run on either console. I'm hoping that if that is the case, and then either console and PC or the three of PC, 360, and PS3, I'm hoping that as those are being developed, the PC version was basically intact as it was at that point, minus maybe some tweaks to the level of the lighting, so that maybe they still want to go to the decision to say, oh, well, you can see everywhere a torch is not required. Okay, whatever. But all the super high-end lighting effects and the super high-res textures and everything, shaders, whatever, I'm hoping that's all
if
still there.
If that's still there, if PC looks that good,
it will be amazing.
PC might actually be like master race this time.
I
mean, I know it's the same game. I'm not big on graphics, whatever. I will play this game on all systems endlessly. But it's a pretty big plus because it's going to look incredible.
Is there anything? Let's say the worst is true, and the PC version is exactly the same as the console. Is there anything preventing a DS fix like 2.0?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Well, what I've been hearing is that they're not doing anything special, additional, like it seems like, I'm not going to go into the details, but people are saying that things security-wise are not any less, or are not any less difficult to manipulate and to interact with. So I think that anything that would hook in and change resolutions or frame, that would insert, different types of texture mapping in aliasing modes and everything, I think that's probably all going to be possible. I think there's nothing preventing them from doing that. And I think that, Durant or whoever else is going to step in, and Durante, he's going to go in. It may not be him. I mean, I'm sure he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders just in case something doesn't work out. Please help us. The Durante signal goes out. Please fix our game. Oh, Dark Souls, Deadly Premonition, whatever. I'm sure he feels the weight on his shoulders, but I'm sure somebody's going to step up if it really comes down to it and just be like, all right, let me just figure this one out. There's, he as cool as the stuff that he's been doing is, as much as he's helped the community, he's not the only one. There's tons of people who can do it. It comes down to, are there enough people playing Dark Souls who are who have the fervor and the interest in doing it? I think there will be somebody who will do it.
If the question is there enough people? I don't think that's even a question, right?
Yeah, that's I don't think it is. I just think that that's the only thing they could possibly factor into it, and there's plenty.
I mean, the other argument too, I'm sure most of you kind of feel the same way. Obviously, this isn't going to be an opinion that everybody shares, but I tend to view games where as long as the graphics are like tolerable, I really just don't care as long as the gameplay is good. And obviously, we have that here. And even like the PlayStation or the Xbox, console versions, they look fantastic. Some of it's kind of silly, like I know Peeve, you were saying.
Oh yeah.
Some of the textures look absolutely retarded, but
they're complaining about an area in the Forest of Fallen Giants. When you climb up to that archer right next to the first Hide Knight, you have to go around the balcony, of this fortress, or whatever. There's if you turn around after going up the ladder right before you go around to the archer and you look out, it's like this is like it. Even like normally I'm like, oh, there people are just whining because they're so spoiled by a PC, or they're so obsessive about graphics or whatever, this wouldn't be a problem if it was on the Xbox One or the PS4. But I look at that and I'm like, wow, that was like the only place in the game that I've looked at so far that was like this. I'm not even sure this qualifies for PS2 anymore.
No. I got you beat. I love the game entirely. This isn't me complaining at all. But the worst texture in the game is easily pillars in the gutter. If you looked at them, it's supposed to be a bunch of like trash piled up on top of each other, but it's like first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell am I looking at? It's like mind-boggling at how like I don't know what they are going for.
It's like very clusterfucky. Like it doesn't...
a tire in the pile. Like I swear to God, it's like a Dodge Neon, like a Dodge Neon tire. With it's got like a hubcap on it and everything. I swear.
Are you shitting me?
And it's like, and the pattern is like super repeated all the way down.
And they're not trying to hide. They're not trying to say like
front end.
It's going to be a rock.
Now there's nobody who's trying to build a theory around this, right?
No. I want to know, Vadi, if you're listening, Vadi, ENB, whoever, if y'all listening, I want to know the lore behind the Dodge Neon tire. Behind the Dodge Neon tire in the gutter. Who came? Did Chester come back in time with the Dodge Neon? Crashed into the
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
This is our new Statue of Liberty. This is Planet of the Apes.
It was the flux capacitor from the abyss.
Now, to be fair, I know a lot of people are sitting there going, "Well, there are tires in the game. There's a wheelchair tire. I've compared them. That's not the wheelchair tire. It's got a hubcap.
Peeve did.
It's got a hubcap.
He's a tire scientist.
Hubcap. It's a Dodge Neon, 1998 Dodge Neon hubcap. I've seen it.
So have you gone in and enhanced it and figured out who the owner is?
I need to get. I need to get the model number. Figure it out.
So what? Okay, so is there a lore reason why Miyazaki drives a Dodge Neon?
I don't know. We need to figure out this lore because it is. To be honest, it is like it blew my mind. I was like, "That's my first playthrough." I was like, "That is a Dodge Neon."
So wait. Dark Souls, no, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dodge Neon Souls.
Dodge Neon Souls.
Confirmed.
So let's say graphics are definitely better on the PC. Is everybody doing a final migration over, or what are we thinking?
Oh, I'll be.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
If that's confirmed and it actually runs really well too, which if it doesn't on my computer, something's fucked up. Then yes, I probably will mostly play on PC.
I will be.
I don't know.
I'm just hoping that people play on it.
I doubt it.
If they don't, then I'll have like I would like for example with Dark Souls 1, like it's really difficult to get a lot of people playing on PC, and like if no matter how good it looks, if there's nobody there, as much as I really would enjoy it, how great it looks, how well it runs, like I'll have to concede and say,
put
I
it
guess
this way.
I'm going back to 360.
Look at the death count. PS3 last I checked was like 150 million.
I can check right now for you. Actually,
while 360, while 360, I'm on 360. You know, we can compare.
Oh, that's what the letters say on the back of the tower.
What?
Oh,
Dodge
God.
Neon.
God damn it!
I got so excited.
Yeah, I was like, what? It happened?
I was like, oh my god, Drip just figured it out! The big secret!
It gives you the model number. Oh, God dang it. Okay. What did you say it was?
154 million.
57 million on Xbox. So almost 100 million more.
So what you're saying is that the Xbox players are 3 times
better.
good.
Yeah. They're better because they died.
they're
They
3 times
died
better.
less. Yes.
Yeah.
Almost 100 million of a difference. They were released at the same time, and I'm wondering what the PC is going to be. I feel like the PC version will probably be less. Well, then again, we don't know. PC Dark Souls 1 had a lot of issues. Maybe that's why people didn't play it as much. So maybe PC might end up having the most people. Who knows?
The other thing too is there's definitely a much larger backing and a much larger following for Dark Souls 2 now.
There's a huge Souls player base on PS3.
Exactly.
They've had Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and now they have Dark Souls 2. Even those people from Demon Souls are coming back to play Dark Souls 2.
But
it's just it's not going to be in comparison.
I'm wondering if like at this point, however long, what's it been, like 2 weeks, something like that? If at this point the like once PC reaches this age,
I think it'll be half of what the Xbox is.
30. If it'll be like 30 million.
Yeah,
think?
half of what the Xbox is.
I don't know, man.
I
don't know.
I would say that's a comfortable estimate. I'm not necessarily convinced that after Dark Souls 1,
I'm
going to
say that it's going to be equal to 60, like 2.5 weeks in, whatever.
Well, it came out on what, the 12th?
I don't know. I mean, what could happen is that maybe
came out on the 11th.
And today's what, the 6th?
Guess we'll see.
So
5th.
It's like what, like 25 days or something? I don't know how many. Whatever.
They said it's going to be good.
We'll say 3 weeks since none of us feel like doing math.
I can't do math. I'm terrible. So, but.
So yeah, 3 weeks. I'm thinking it's going to be 60 million.
Yep, probably.
Nah.
I have a little faith in it, especially if it looks as good as I'm thinking it will.
Yeah, I guess that's a big determining factor.
Well,
it's just
it could.
how the reviews are going to be.
If it looks, if it looks like the demo copy, and that's why they're delaying it to make sure it's mind-boggling, amazing, it might skyrocket.
Not only would I be surprised as shit, but it would probably sell super well.
So it may beat them all out. Who knows?
I love the PvP in this game. It's not backstab souls. It's just
spam.
Yeah,
souls.
that's another thing too. That's another thing too. People are yelling fix poise, fix poise, fix poise. If poise worked like it did in Dark Souls 1, if it worked like it did in Dark Souls 1,
we can't have
everything would get backstab fished, and then like they'd just be tanking it and walking around and backstabbing you just like in Dark Souls 1. Full move sets wouldn't be viable. You couldn't punish it the majority of the time. I prefer.
You have to stack poise
this.
again. You couldn't wear what you want.
I don't know what's going on with poise exactly, but it's better than what it was.
You do need to have. What I have noticed is that going from effectively just about no poise, like 12 poise, whatever, up to what am I at now? Like, it's got to be. I think it's 85. That can't be right. A lot. I have 65.8. And I've noticed that there's, even if I do get staggered, like early on, I take 2, I move back further, and I'm able to recover way quicker. Like, it seems like, basically, it's like how far into a combo can somebody get before you can get out, and poise influences that a lot. Even if you do get staggered,
I don't think so.
Well, I'm having that, like, right now.
From our testing, me and Bob's testing, poise works the same way it did. It's just, it only works up to a certain point on small weapons. Like, if you get up to great swords, you cannot poise tank it no matter what you do. This is in full Havels with the poise ring +2. And, like, you know, short swords were, like, the only thing he could walk through one hit with. So, up there, it was just...
Did you just try, like, walking through stuff and standing there, or did you actually try mid-swing?
We just tried getting hit and rolling.
I would try, like, mid-swing stuff, just to see. Like, mid-action, stuff. Because, well, yeah, I don't know. I do think there's a difference there.
Well, if you get the counter hit, you can do higher combos. Like, some infinites go off of counter hits. But, yeah, I don't know how poison.
One thing I will say is I definitely miss toggle escapes. Just because it feels so silly having a single mistake. Yeah, like
cost you the entire game.
Like I
whiff
an attack or something, fine, and I get backstepped into a running R1 with like a Cestus or something, and then they just infinite combo me dead. Like that seems very silly.
Yep. Well, there's a couple of infinite combos that are really fucked up.
Stupid dual broken great swords or whatever. You just R1L1, R1L1, and it actually moves you far enough to continue the lock forever. So like stuff like that, I don't know, leaves a very bitter taste in my mouth. I understand that, you know, you had to get rid of toggle escapes in kind of the way they functioned in Dark Souls 1 because it just completely negated any potential use for like crazy high strength weapons in PvP because nobody good enough would ever actually get hit or comboed with them. Rather, like people were getting, you know, consistently first swing toggles, right? But in some kind of actual mechanic in the game, I think it would be interesting to have a way out of stuns and staggers that's somewhat skill based. I just don't know how they would implement that.
I think they just need to balance it to where like you're not going to get infinitely locked by Cestus.
Yeah, just 1-2 hits.
Yeah, just like make
else.
it to where you're able to get out of it. Just find everything that is doing infinite locks and all that, and just like adjust it to where it's right.
But
then the infinite locks on the Cestus, how has that become a viable weapon anymore?
Make it be able to land like 3 or 4 hits, whatever, like 3 or 4 hit lock.
Still like fucking get a 4-hit combo to do like fucking 500 damage.
Like a 1-2-3 punch, something like that. I don't know, but
we found a 8-hitter without the infinite.
But on top of that, I mean, look at what happened with strength weapons in Dark Souls 1. Like everyone would get punished so much that they would just or they would get like people would just break out of the stun lock so much that people would just poise, backstab the world, Hornet Ring, great clubs. I don't want to go back to that.
Well, that's why I don't want to go.
I don't want to go back to that. Hornet Ring, great club.
Just to stop that
backstab. I don't want to go back to that.
I don't know. I'd rather get R1 to death than get backstabbed in one shot. Because at least the guy, like, you know, like swung and he hit me, but still.
Well, I mean, you can still get one shot backstab in this game quite easily, actually, which is kind of silly.
Oh yeah. But it's so
Speaking
hard
of which,
to
they
get the
need to fix
backstab
the what'd y'all call it, Brandon? Phantom riposte and backstabs.
Phantom backstabs and phantom riposte that do like an extra hit for no reason.
That is broken.
Yeah.
You can do it a lot by accident without even trying. You just run up to someone, you'll be
There's
the
like
right
a 1+ second window, more than that, in which you can be backstabbed reliably.
Yep, it's fine.
And that basically negates a lot of the use of a lot of lighter weapons. Unless you can do absurd damage, you know, it pretty much fucks you.
Well, it's whatever's going on is, I still think, much better than the predecessor for sure.
Yeah. I'd take this PvP over Dark Souls 1 any fucking
you don't
day
miss
of ever.
Dark Wood Grain Ring flipping around.
Darkwood Grain Ring,
Dark Wood
Ninja
Grain
Flip,
Ring, yeah.
Hornet
Dark Wood Grain
Backstab.
Ring, Chaos Rapier, Havel's Chest, Hollow Soldier,
Mother's
Waistcloth,
Mask.
Mother's Mask. Backstab, escape into backstab, so you could backstab your backstab. You don't miss that?
You could backstab
Everything,
your backstab.
combos in Dark Souls 1, they drove me nuts because everyone's like, oh my god, this combo and that combo and that combo. And I'm like, oh, what is it? Well, it's combustion into backstab. I'm like, okay. Well, what's the other combo? It's Morikumo R1 into another R1 into backstab. I'm like, okay, what's the other one? It's a running R1 into a backstab. And I'm like, god damn it. Backstabs were... they were everything. So sorry.
Yep. I'm so glad they're most for the most part
Now we're
gone.
saying that now. Who knows? Who knows? Something might change all that soon, but
Come up.
at the moment, they're very punishable.
Dude, you can wear fucking turtle armor. That shit's never
there you
coming
go.
back.
or Gower's Ring of Protection. Don't take any damage on your back.
Yep, Gower's Ring. Yeah.
Jester chest.
Some people are saying Gower's is really OP, but I don't think so, man. It's
It
just
weighs
a hit on your back.
10. Yeah.
It weighs a shit ton, and you
It
can
weighs
break it
10.
Wait, what?
2 hits.
Weighs
screw that.
10.0
What
and
the
it'll break after a few hits. So
Yeah.
it is
You can
actually,
apparently
as
repair
far
it with
as I
repair
can
powder.
tell, as far as what I'm hearing, I haven't encountered it much, but it seems like one of the few things that are very balanced. Actually balanced.
Balanced, yeah.
Take a few shots on your back, it'll break. Wearing 10 pounds of a ring.
Right, and that's a ring slot that's gonna disappear.
Oh, ring breaks, suddenly you can ninja flip.
Yeah.
It's like Santier Spear. Whenever it's broken, you can suddenly ninja flip.
Oh yeah, mundane Avalons need to be fixed. I think that's another thing. Like 1,400 damage from ranged instantly. Like,
People
that's
complain.
fucked. You don't have
People
a shield.
complain about Great
Fuck.
Resonant Soul, but dude, Great Resonant Soul dodges all day. Like everybody
dude,
dodges
Great
it.
Resonant Soul is-
I find myself more often and not just
The
going in
only
melee.
spell. The only spell you can't dodge, as far as I know, is Wrath of the Gods.
I've rolled through it. It's
roll
extremely
through it.
thin timing, though.
Wait, you can actually roll through. it, really?
I did it like once or twice. I have it on one of my streams. I'll
So it's
see if I
not.
can
It's
find
not
it.
like wait, like you rolled through towards them, or
Like
you
I
just
rolled
out
through and
of
I
range?
got the roll backstab. Well, actually, I don't know if I got the roll
Really?
backstab, but I
Oh wow!
no.
Did you take
I rolled
damage?
through
So
to
it
their
can
back.
be
Like
rolled.
I
Shit.
would have got hit from it, and I didn't take damage.
Huh?
It must be
Well,
like
there you
frame
go. It might
perfect,
not.
dude.
It might be.
You might.
it
need
might
high
I
be
don't
Dark
play with
Souls,
more than
though.
100 agility, so yeah.
Really?
It might be Dark
What the
Souls 1
fuck?
all over.
We tried
again.
so
Like,
many times.
People complained about Wrath of the Gods all the way up until Dark Souls 2, and it turns out after you play for a little bit, it's the easiest. It's the easiest spell in Dark Souls 1 to punish, like 99% of the time.
It's definitely
So-
not going to be easy.
But
to
I'm
punish
saying,
Steve, that you have to be
the
like
game's
frame
only been out
perfect.
3 weeks. No one's really sure, so
Yeah.
it might all be jump. Everything I've
Right.
heard so far, everyone's jumped to conclusions about. Like even like soul memory and stuff. Supposedly, soul
Well,
memory is
Right.
Yeah, haven't we had like 3 or 4 working
Like
theories? on
everyone's
that
like,
so
oh,
far?
it's
Well, I'm pretty sure
it's in
it
New
does
Game Plus. It's not a New Game
take
Plus. It
effect
is a New
at
Game
all
Plus.
in New Game
Well,
Plus.
I'm hearing now that Soul Memory after 12 million and up is non-existent. That's the new theory. After 12 million and up, it's non-existent, which would be great.
Seems consistent with kind of the really basic testing that I did, and Illusory Walls is a mod on the Dark Souls Reddits, and he's done a ton of testing with this stuff, and he's like really, really good about it. So I'll see if I can pull the post up for you guys afterwards. But yeah, he's done a bunch of testing.
I think
and
I've seen
it
his
seems
post,
to
actually.
be the case that soul memory is the only determining factor in terms of getting connected to people. Like, it doesn't matter what your soul level is; it's the soul memory. And
level.
yeah, I
What?
guess like because he was having
That's
people, a like soul level 10 character was summoning a soul level like 400 character, and vice versa, but their soul memory was similar.
I have heard. Who was it? Oh, this is gonna kill me. Somebody,
God.
I can't remember who, was insisting that the only people they could connect with on it was Rashane. Yeah, he was telling me and Brandon about how
right.
on his level like 30 something, the only ones he can connect with, I think he said, are level 270s.
Probably because his soul memory is so high.
Yeah. The thing is, he stays level 30. That's where he's comfortable. That's his thing. So he stays around level 30 something, and I think it's 36, whatever the case. And he can only connect with like level 170 or 270. I want to say he said 270s. Like, everyone he's talked to, they're around the 270 range. And I was like, that's got to be wrong. Like, you can't be serious. And I think he might even be talking. I don't know if it's New Game or New Game Plus, so scratch that. But regardless, level 30 something being summoned by like 270. So maybe it is only based on soul memory.
Did they ever confirm that ascetics, whatever area you're in with an ascetic, you can only connect, like if it's effectively New Game Plus and above, you can only match with those people?
No,
I don't know.
No, that's not true.
Well, no, I did that with Lance earlier. Never mind. Yeah.
I wish they gave more of a reason to go to New Game Plus. They're gonna chop it off from everything else. Don't let people bonfire ascetic and get the benefits of New Game Plus. Sure, let them do it and respawn the enemies and make them harder.
Yeah.
Don't let somebody do that and be able to get all the boss souls that are only in New Game Plus and make all the weapons and everything.
Dude, you can get the Chaos Blade from the Lost Center without fighting
in
the
New Game
Pyromancers.
Yep, they don't. Even once you bonfire ascetic in New Game, Pyromancers won't spawn, at the center, and you still get the Old Witch's Soul. Pretty good.
Yep. Fucking crazy.
I mean, I'm sure they're gonna adjust all that. I just hope they do soon.
Okay, I think I have enough Skeptic Spices to put my Great Heal down to 10 and my Great Magic Barrier down to 10 for duels.
So you're still set on that 150?
Not if they fix scaling. They fix scaling, absolutely.
I think
150 is perfect. And it also depends on the
if we can find out some exact numbers for breakpoints and things like that, if it's like,
dude, agility, I'm 92 agility, I'm fine. And it's all from attunement. I have no adaptability. I think adaptability is super overrated. Yes, I said it.
I don't think so.
Agility,
I think it's really good.
People are looking way too into it. I think I'm at 92 and I'm fine. I'm willing to say 90 and above. Like, you're good with 90 and above. That's what I'm willing to say.
I would say if you do a build that uses a lot of items, having 100 plus is nice. But other than that, but keep in mind, aren't you also talking about that having experience with a build that mostly uses hexes and has a good?
I said I have 92 agility.
So that's fine. Yeah. So that's fine. I think that the difference between like 80 whatever that the base might be and 92, 100 whatever is probably pretty big.
Yeah, just don't know. No one knows. They keep on like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I
wish-
did this and I did that.
I wish we had the ability to just dig into it and know.
Point
We
is,
will
would
once
answer
the
so many
PC
questions.
version comes
Oh, yeah.
out.
point
I'm
is
almost certain we'll
everything
see
can
some
be
numbers.
dodged. Agility just gives you a bigger window. You're not gonna not be able to
Right.
iframe through something with low or no agility or whatever the base is.
Scrub souls.
It's just
equals
gonna
easy
be
mode.
tougher. Yeah, there you go. Everyone with adaptability is a scrub.
Might come to that. It might just be like a skill that people don't know how to dodge really well. I like it.
I
Fuck
really
that
don't
shit.
notice that big of a difference.
I
I
noticed
played
a
with
huge
39
difference.
adaptability, which yes, a lot of people are like, oh my god, 39 so bad.
What
With a what's the class? Knight, I think. Knight class, you at 39 adaptability, that's where you get 110 agility. It depends on your starting class. Anyway, I had 110 agility, and I played with that for 200 hours. And then I go to this build, which only has 92 agility, and I'm saying I can't notice that big of a difference, or even I'm willing to say any difference. 100 hours on this one with 92 compared to 200 on one with 110. I don't see much of a difference. Maybe I'm just
Maybe it is really
I'm
like
just
fast
that,
returns
I'm just that
and
good.
that's enough.
Maybe I'm just that
Maybe
good.
you're just that good, Pete. Maybe you just roll through everything. I think
Let's
I
just
think
say
that's
that.
it, Pete.
There we go. I'm just the best.
I think you're just the
Titchy
best
Green
right
told
now.
me I'm the best. Must be true.
You're the best.